rubbing yourself with it.
Oh, sorry, man.
What? Why are you rubbing some tar with it? He just joined you up. Sorry, man.
Sorry. Hey, why are you guys sticking your fingers in the bottle? Why are you guys dumping it? Where'd you get the new beer from?
Why are you naked?
I can show you the world.
Watch.
I control you to what?
I control you the world.
No, Dallas. That's offensive when
It's
you
racist when I do it.
Oh.
I forgot.
I'm dark enough. I would.
That's not true. I own them.
That's definitely not. That's gonna be the intro.
It's not racist. I own them. Wait.
No.
I'm crazy for you. Touch me once and I'll know.
Alright, so yeah, you guys practice getting.
I never wanted anyone like this. It's so brand new.
I'm crazy. Why are you fucking so?
Why? Because I need more room for shit that's fragile.
Oh, dude, this is fucking globular.
You did.
Let me drink the scissor.
Okay.
Let me sip the scissor.
Nothing now. Okay. You should use less than thinking that's normal juice, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna be like concentrated.
Yeah, that's strong.
That might
That's
be-
meant for mixing with like ice and shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you should just fill that whole cup up with vodka. No, not actually.
Well, maybe half.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, you can just literally test it.
That's a concentrate? Like
Yeah,
concentrate?
because that's meant to be mixed with like ice.
Wow.
and stuff, yeah. So it's meant
Yeah,
to
it's
gonna be
turn into a
mild.
blended
Yeah,
drink.
oh shit.
You know what? We don't have to focus so much on keeping out the size, don't we?
Yeah, you know what I heard today? You know Margaritaville by Jimmy Buffett?
I like that you have the hat on, Seth. I only realized that recently. Like 2 seconds ago.
You know that song? Apparently when he made that song, he didn't even like it. He was like, this song probably sucks.
Little did he know.
It's like his most famous song. It's pretty funny.
Margaritaville?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Like Jimmy Buffett. It is kind of like a lazy song, but it's like, it has a good vibe.
Wasting away.
You know what those lazy song is? Tequila.
Which one? Is it filming yet?
Tequila.
Yeah, technically. We're essentially just doing mic checks right now. And
Mic check 1 2 1 2. It's the Denzel coming down to the zoo.
it wasn't that strong. It tastes a lot like vodka. I didn't pour much vodka.
What's our intro song for this cast?
The lemon balances it nicely.
You're thinking about that.
I was agreeing with that.
It's a good one.
That's a good one.
It's not like concrete though. It could be a little better.
I was thinking that or
I'm fucking rap! I'm fucking rap! Kill people, burn shit, fuck school!
Centaur, what do you think of these?
he wants his fucking. All the leaves are brown.
When the sky is gray.
All the leaves are brown. Did you ever see a video? There's like this fucking video on the internet where like they were singing that. But like the chorus, the chorus just kept saying all the leaves were brown, and they eventually started singing over him as he kept trying to like do the song. He just kept saying all the leaves are brown.
When
In the
the-
sky, all the leaves. Yeah, literally that.
Okay.
It's not. I'm gonna force you to do
I'm
it.
gonna spark this.
I'm gonna talk for you then.
Alright,
Oh,
so what's
some
up?
very intimate things about your personal life, but slightly like obscure them, so that way you just have to correct me. What else if you want to think I'm saying horrible things about each other?
You see this sexual assault?
Wait, Del, can you say that again? At the same volume?
Do you see this sexual assault happening?
Okay.
It's all DMT.
I think they do.
He's not even hearing us.
Okay, yeah. Our volumes are similar.
And you can understand my retaliation.
Alright, who wants to take the snap?
This is pleasure.
Alright,
Okay, guys, so whenever you want to talk, just make sure you're pulling the mic close.
So I'm trusting enough those are too long of hair.
What would be a nice background? This is a pretty good background.
Okay, you get copyrighted if they hear
Play
it
some
though.
C4
Yeah, but I'll keep it quiet.
C4 dead.
You're fucking.
C4 is. The piano music.
sounds fun. I don't know what it is. It sounds
It's Minecraft piano music.
It's a Minecraft disc you can find and put in your jukebox.
No, it's just the band that makes like all the music.
Oh,
Yeah.
can you guys talk into the mic right now? I'm just gonna do sound check. Make sure the volume is nice for you guys.
Check 1 2 1 2. So we're gonna have to turn the
Like
mic.
your
Are we
normal
gonna turn the mic every time we talk?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can do a thing where we keep it here and we like lean into it, and like you lean.
That's what I thought.
That seems.
Cause like, does this work? Can you pick me up here?
Is that good in between? Or like I'm talking there?
Yes.
Volume.
Well, can you hear me from
Yeah,
here?
that's good for you. Because you're the bottom one.
I'm the bottom one.
You're top.
No, you guys are bottom.
Yeah, that's what I said. We're
I like
bottom
cupping
and you're
it.
top.
Like
Yes.
cupping my
I
hand around, just like
understand.
spitting on the mic.
Yeah, you just topic right here, you're fine. If anything, that's a little more, like, too much for me right now.
I'm gonna like spit like rapid.
Right around there, maybe? Yeah. that should
I
be
like
fine.
jerking the mic
Yeah,
as I
right
talk.
now, you should get sexually roll and talking to it.
Now, do you guys want to do it like me and Dallas doing it, where it's in between and we don't have to move the mic every time? We can just kind of lean in like this, and then like lean back, and Dallas will go. I go.
I kind of don't mind either way. This works for me if it was just like that.
Well,
Whichever is
also,
best
right
for
in
you.
the bottom, I don't want it in my face,
That's
so.
also true.
I like the idea that me and Alex might kiss if we accidentally go to talk at this.
If you're in a good conversation, going
Sometimes
back
we
and
got
forth.
tongue and stuff in there.
We're like,
Yeah, Alex, I should just borrowed that for Halloween.
for Christmas.
It's about looking at the jacket.
Yeah, 'cause I could have just been like the kid from
Salt.
It. I
Oh,
could have
yeah.
made a little paper boat and
You
just
also go to
wore
the
that.
Morton Salt Girl if she's got an umbrella. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, the yellow umbrella.
Yeah.
Yeah, salt.
You could have been that salty bitch.
The salty bitch, exactly. You know what I'm talking about. Salty bitch.
Do
with
drugs,
an umbrella.
kids.
See an umbrella.
Yeah, dude. I gotta
I
get mics at
don't
some point.
endorse drug use.
I'm being held against my will here. Please help.
Oh, Centaura, you're so funny.
Go inside.
He
Joe.
joke.
Oh, Dal actually do like kind of pulling close and just did it unconsciously.
Yeah. Just to ensure that you're being heard out there.
What I say is important. This
Thank you, Dal.
I think it is important.
Take your step.
Huh? Take my
He's the
snap?
most important president.
I'm not taking that one
Most
snap.
important president?
In terms of making the most.
If you think you can take that one, oh, well, I know you can.
Oh, I don't know,
Would
but
like to.
oh, that actually works. They can have
Something
I was just thinking they could actually have a background conversation while we're talking to the mics. They actually work.
You had
because
that
they don't really
torch.
pick them up. But alright, Seth, who do I think is the most important president? I guess maybe George Washington?
Yeah. He just found a whole country.
So Seth, get the fucking mic back. Take the mic back.
I just bought the money.
Just
Now I wanna fuck Miley Cyrus.
for clarification, Centaura didn't want to talk about religion or politics on the first podcast, but fucking Miley Cyrus in the ass. You know what? Maybe that's not as controversial, strangely enough.
It's not.
It's not. It's
Yeah,
not like a
people
political
don't like murder other people
Yeah, over that.
for wanting to fuck Miley Cyrus in the ass. You know?
Wait, they didn't hear the first part. What you
That's
said.
the important. That doesn't matter.
No one murders anyone over Miley Cyrus's ass. At least I don't think.
So you're not a true fan, Seth.
You're not-
That's what I'm hearing.
You're not a
I've been
true.
drinking
You're not a
something
true
there. Trying to
believer
grab
of the
it.
cake. It seems.
True believer in the cake.
Simply put.
Thank you, Dallas, for your eloquent.
The wrecking balls. I about him.
You were like, she has some nice kicks in that video, so.
Smoking. Oh yeah, this is actually legal now. We don't have to be like, this is legal tobacco.
That's weird. Even if it's on video, would you be okay to...
No, this is legal tobacco.
No, I'm saying when it was illegal, could you smoke it on a podcast and not get in trouble? Like, could you get in trouble for smoking?
Yeah.
You just
on a
can't
podcast?
use any specification during the video saying it's actually.
Wait, Centaura, pull the mic and talk.
The police could have used it as evidence against you to like search your house. If it's just like you have a video on
Yeah, like
of
probable
you
cause.
that's illegal.
If you're just like, this is fucking marijuana.
Yeah, exactly.
I keep it all in my house.
Because, yeah, I'm thinking, like, what are the extremes? This is cocaine!
They probably won't do anything, but if you piss them off for some reason, and then if it is cocaine, they probably would be like, alright, now, more of a reason to search your house.
Gotcha, bitch, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, it's one of those things. People get away with it obviously all the time in the illegal state still, but
So can you hear him right now?
I'm pretty sure it can hear me. I can see when it hears me.
You want this? I don't know, clearly you can see that.
There's a bottom bar that's recording right there.
You want the bottom bar to be between 18 and 12. So
I can't see that, but
you're good.
Yes, you are
When it's
getting it.
bouncing to
You are
around
getting
this
it.
point, that's how you know like it can hear you optimally.
I think I see maybe. I think I see a little bit.
Yeah, like you see. So if you say
Yeah.
something right now, yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah, right there.
So roughly there is
Yes,
the
you
optimal
are the
place.
bottom
Yeah.
bar. You see that metal?
Dallas,
Yes, I am
right
at the
there.
bottom of the barrel. I
That's
understand.
oh,
We. are
that's
bottom
the
of
spot.
barrel.
That's the sweet
So
spot,
right now,
if
like,
you will.
I'm
Just
in
a
the
little
sweet
bit
spot now.
higher.
But like, if you look at
Oh,
the
that's
bottom,
it.
Dallas,
That's
give me the ball.
that's where you want it.
Nah, Dallas, you can speak your sultry 50 Shades of Grey to the mic as much as you
You
like.
could have any farm.
Tie that
or farm
bitch
if you
up.
want. You already have a persimmon farm, but besides that.
I wouldn't call it a farm.
I don't have a persimmon farm.
He has a persimmon farm. Rate it. You'll get a lot of money. I hear they're expensive.
It's technically sweatshop labor if you think about it.
I don't have a farm.
Centaura has a profitable enterprise, not a farm. That's too disrespectful of a term for it.
Profitable strictly for the employees.
Dude, if you turned his entire persimmon tree into persimmon pies, you'd probably make a lot of money.
Percent. I don't
Persimmon
think.
pies sound pretty fucking bomb.
I don't know.
Sounds
They're not,
pretty bland.
they're not sweet. Yeah, they're
They're
not.
Not that
sweet.
sweet.
No, you can sweeten them up. You can just well, peaches are sweet as well. But
Yeah, what the fuck?
Like anyone out here making cucumber
you
pies?
probably could turn it into a pie and just sweeten it with
Well,
other
you
shit.
could turn it into a you could turn it into a pie with the main ingredient would be like, oh, this is a sugar pie on top of fruit. It's not that sweet.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it would make a great pie.
I can't hear you right now, Centaura.
Because
You know, apple pie works, and persimmons are pretty sweet.
apple pie works because it's usually like brown sugar cinnamon on the apple.
Yeah, that's what you gotta do with the persimmons, though.
Yeah, persimmons aren't as sweet as apples though.
I feel like they are. Do you think a persimmon is much less sweet than an apple? What do you think, Phillips?
Oh wait, hold up. First, yes, Centaura, can you adjust that real quick? Can you lift it up a little bit?
It's because this fell down, so
Yeah.
yeah.
I said he just holds it up in the air, just doesn't like actually like move the mic.
For the duration of the podcast, because Centaura's a real one like that. He has the Asian discipline. Is that inappropriate to say?
No, but it is racist.
Yes.
Racist. Dude, how are we defining
It's a positive.
racist?
Yeah, it's a weird. If you say a positive trait, usually you get by because it's like discipline's not a negative thing usually.
Centaura, do
No.
you not like getting accused of being good at math?
I don't really care personally.
It's just not true.
Wait, Seth's got a grab the ball. No, Seth said it's not true.
Well, compared to most people, he probably isn't bad at math, so it's just not true.
Oh, can you go closer to the mic when you talk?
Compared to most people, he's not bad at math, so it's just not true, you know. Yeah, I think I'm good.
Yeah.
One of his opening flirting lines with some girls we met in Maine was literally just like, "Oh, you're having trouble with your math homework?"
Who the fuck did he say that to? I missed that. Wait, are you talking about the girls on top of the mountain?
Yeah. When we were out to dinner, one of them mentioned like having bad like having bad troubles with our math homework, and Chubb was immediately like, you saw his face just go.
Would you say perhaps he slid up like a ninja behind her?
Oh my god! Alex, you can't get away with that endless abuse.
He slid up like a ninja and executed like a samurai.
Dude, that's racist bullshit.
He kamikaze the
That's an interesting point you make, Seth. An endless amount of these. You guys have to be. Oh, you guys have to back me up with more. I don't even want to call it racist here because I don't know if racist is the right word. Like,
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
that
think
was
you're just a
racist.
lesser human being because of these
That doesn't mean
stereotypes.
I don't think it becomes racist with your mal intent. I think it's racist just from what you say. I think it has to be taken at surface value sometimes.
So is any stereotype essentially racist?
Yes.
Any race-based
Probably
stereotype?
detail.
Yes, but racist doesn't have
Oh,
to be
yeah, I
a
remember
negative
that.
thing. It just has a negative connotation.
Yeah, remember he was like, oh yeah, he helped a bunch of people.
That's weird. So you're saying
remember
that
that.
positive. Oh wait, hold on. If you guys are gonna have a side conversation, can you lift the mic up so we don't hear you in the podcast? Which is fine. You guys can have a side conversation. It won't pick you up if it's like that. Calm down. We're gonna dive into this now. So do you think there's a positive connotation that racists can ever have?
No, not currently in our society, but I think there's racist ideals that are simply like good
Well,
ideals.
he got what?
like for instance,
got
Asians
his
being good
version
at
of
math. I don't
it.
think I'm familiar with that stereotype, so I can't personally say if it's positive or negative. But to me, if someone's like, you're smart, how is that a bad thing?
Like, what if I'm not? What if I don't live up to expectation?
And then you're a weak human being for thinking.
I'm sorry, Dallas, I took the mic away.
Then you're a weak human being for thinking that you should not let society hold much down.
Dal, I like that you stood up for yourself to be called white boy at the party the other day.
I'm okay with Sunita calling me white boy because it was funny when she said it and that's just been her thing. But Ariana jumped on it and I was like, no.
You gotta snip that in the bud or else it becomes everyone's just calling you white boy.
Like, hey white boy, what's up yellow girl? It's like, no, that's not gonna fly.
Yeah, there's a weird part right now where a lot of people seem to think it's okay to be offensively racist towards white people.
Yeah, it's not always fair. I see Dallas's trouble.
Is that thing talking to the mic again? Like you're a little too to the side. If I, well, real quick, I just want to clarify.
He's coughing.
No, it's fine. But if you're talking to the side of it, like here, no good. But like right here,
Start coughing it like I'm a rapper.
no, like this, when you're talking right directly into it, that's
Your red line.
Yeah, like that's where I'm
You're red lining.
This might be
Your
good,
engine blue.
because this is pretty good right here. So I'm sort of just doing this.
Yeah.
It might not be as quality of audio though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you got, yeah, there you go.
I heard an interesting ad on the radio earlier today, and they actually played a disclaimer before and after the ad that it did not reflect the radio's beliefs or any of its affiliates or advertisers. And it was literally just an ad that started, it was a political ad that started with, when was racism against white people okay?
Wait! Oh! Please elaborate on this, Dallas. I have not heard this.
It was actually an interesting commercial because it didn't say. I expected as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh, this is gonna be something racist, isn't it? And then it was literally like, when was it okay to be racist against white people? And I was like, why do I even feel like it's about to be racist when it's just standing up for white people? I feel like even saying that seems racist to me, and that seems wrong.
Since when is white power not a
That's way too close.
No, but then they were like actually like spitting facts. They were just like, oh, relief funds always go like they like always go to white people last or some shit. They were saying, I don't know if those were the facts, but that's just what they were saying. I was like, hey, well, if that's the case, then it's pretty racist.
It is like, weird when you hear racism against the culture.
That's just like
Hold on. So, what are you guys doing with the fucking mic over there? Okay, you see how me and Dallas are having it? Like that, yeah. That, you know, that'll do.
Always making fun of us just because we're not podcasters like you, Al. Learning that.
I'm sorry.
Alex brought us on here just to make fun of our lack of podcast etiquette and nothing else.
It's actually ego masturbation. The entirety of it.
You can just take out the word ego. You should see what he's doing on this table.
Oh, they can.
OnlyFans cam.
I was about to say the nomadic OnlyFans.
Hey man, there might be a crowd out there who's looking for that cyborg-esque funk.
You should change your name to Nomadic She-Man.
I'm not doing that.
Do that.
No offense to nomadic sheeman out there. I'm just not one of you.
He doesn't disagree with your beliefs. He's just admitting that he's not one of you.
I agree. It has been a strange trend as of late. So maybe it's not so strange. This sort of bounce back of white hate. I don't know. I don't know if anything I'm about to say is true. It's just something I've observed, and it can mostly be false. But I wonder, as like, oh, Dallas is currently he's stripping the old one over there. Yeah, cough that low. But I wonder if as things, not to say that they're totally equal, but become more equalized when it comes to race in our society, if some of the people who used to be oppressed, when they begin to gain more power, have a resentment for that repression that they used to feel, and maybe want to feel the power that was imposed on them, like back in the day when things were more unequal. I don't know if that's the reason why it could be a total misdiagnosis, but I have just noticed more white hate being acceptable and maybe unpopular.
Maybe it's just like a reverb, like you're saying. The same as like Just like reverb, anything else. I think I'm pretty close. I'm pretty good now. I can see I'm pretty good.
No, you're way too low. Can you go closer?
Pay attention to the green bar up top, and that has
I'm
to
the green
go.
on the bottom.
No, right there you're perfect. What you were just saying?
I'm at the top of the screen.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm looking at.
You can clear your throat.
There you go.
What were you saying, Seth? We'll figure it out as you talk. I'll just say either
Oh,
closer
no, I
or
forget
further.
what I'm saying.
I'm talking about reverb.
Yeah.
Racial reverb.
Okay. Just reverb.
That should be a band name. That should be a band name. Racial reverb.
Maybe not. I can see that going sideways real quick.
I'm gonna start a band.
And that is the end of the show, folks. And with my life on social, any platform. Oh, what? Oh, okay, so I'm gonna look my microphone. For any of you who's joining in right now, this is the
Accidentally.
wonderful 50th episode bonanza. So let's go.
This is 50th?
Yeah, this is going to be the 50th. When I release it, it will be the 50th. I have several stored up right now that will be the others. But yes, this is going to be the 50th SPECIAL. Can I hit the ball?
Yeah. I prefer to smoked it.
Seth is serenading his eyes right now. Look into his eyes and feel the depths of Seth's soul.
You guys can't even tell that he's wearing assless chaps right now.
Sadly.
It's a torch.
Specifically, you guys are missing out. What do you think is one of the largest problems we're having currently with society in America specifically? More, to word it differently, what do you think is one of the most common ailments for the average American to feel emotionally?
Addiction. Emotional pain, for which the best coping, and this is just my guess, of course you take that one, right? But the most coping mechanisms we have right now often take the form of a self-destructive form of joy, like whether that be food, porn, TV, gambling, scrolling through your phone, etc. That for whatever reason, the ways in which we find joy, to me at least, often seem to be not worth it, unhealthy in the final analysis, or at least not nearly as positive as they could be. And like, I don't know, I just see so much pain, like sadness, things along those lines, anxiety, anger, that bubbles up from really small things. And that people, there's a common sense, I don't know if you guys feel this, of just boredom or sadness. Like maybe it's mild, but it's there. And I don't know, not lack of purpose. What do you guys think about that? And that the trying to remedy this pain, I don't think we have a good coping mechanism for it at the moment on that.
I was gonna right before you ended with saying about the coping mechanism. I was about to bring that up. It's just I feel like people don't have proper outlets for emotions, and I don't think people realize that if you feel emotions and not deal with them, they don't go away. They're there. They just come out in everyday life in small tidbits, or sometimes just huge explosions on unnecessary things. So it's important to have those outlets to release emotions you might not even know you're having, because then they come up in, like you said, like addiction, or just like anger over small things, or sadness over small things, or easily getting overwhelmed in emotional states because you have so much built up emotion, and as soon as you feel one, you start feeling all of them at once. So yeah, I feel like having proper outlets is a huge thing, and being able to cope properly is a huge thing. And addiction is an easy way to cope because it's an immediate coping mechanism, but not a long-term one. But if you just keep being addicted, there's like this saying, it's like, it's not a bender till you quit, you know? Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. It's like, you didn't have a bender until you're done your bender. Because currently you're just having fun, if that makes sense.
That is a strange part about the drug culture. I heard George Carlin making a joke. Like a lot of the people from the hippie age, they were facing middle-age burnout. And when it comes to a lot of the extreme ways they were using a lot of those drugs, that seems to be one of the costs, that around like middle age, a lot of your functions start to break down and an often tragic way when you're doing, and in this case it would be more extreme with a bunch of psychedelics, maybe even weed or alcohol or hard drugs, heroin, etc.
Definitely something.
I was just wondering how much that contributed to a burnout, like a sort of.
Yeah, but a lot of times they do a bunch of drugs at once.
Session, go closer.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. A lot of times they do a bunch of drugs at once and stuff like that.
Yeah, that would burn someone out. I'm thinking of addiction.
I feel like a bigger problem is just the fact that the government has no accountability for how it spends its taxes.
I literally see you like this. Go.
And people don't actually have any real desire to start holding it accountable. You know?
That is big. We're talking about not holding the government accountable. The specific of tax, I am unaware of, but the general idea of the government not being held accountable due to the people largely not caring. I don't know if that's true, but from my personal experience, I've seen some evidence to point to that being true, to a lot of people being apathetic towards how the government runs, just not caring. Just maybe, as my mom said, which was something that really struck me, like, hey, it just doesn't hurt enough for a lot of people right now. You know, when you have food on the table and you're able to drive places, generally get healed from the really bad injuries, although those are sometimes rare, but if you just have fucking food in your fridge, a lot of people don't feel the need to revolt. Although, you know, revolt's too fucking extreme. Let's just talk about voting. A lot of people just don't seem to be voting or getting
Yeah, you don't involved in politics at all. Like, why are you bothered being involved in politics at all? If you have, you know, me. But that's kind of like, I don't know. I feel like that's almost like a design stream by the government where you kind of want us that docile and not calling them all the bullshit they do, you know? Because sometimes it's big obvious mistakes. And people are just like very apathetic about it, like you said. So
you think that's a new? I wonder if that's a new thing.
it's somewhat
in
new.
our
I feel
age.
like it's always happened. I don't know. The government used to be more brutal back in the day. So it's like they maybe used to retaliate a little bit more, but the government itself wouldn't. Like, you ever hear of like the whiskey rebellion and shit like that? Yeah. Like,
What's the whiskey rebellion? Since you're Nick Bell.
pretty much like at some point, George Bush. I mean, not George Bush.
George Clinton.
George Washington.
Oh, actually, I think I did hear about this.
Yeah, George Washington like was trying to pretty much just get a bunch of people to like pay a tax, but they were just like, "Fuck you!" Like the government, the power of like the U.S. government was not like very understood at the time. But he pretty much just like showed up with like a bunch of like soldiers, like, "Now you're paying this tax, or we're gonna fucking like let you out and take your land pretty much." So like the government was kind of like brutal back in the day. Or like think about like the government like feudal times when it was like medieval times. It's like, oh, if you fucking fuck with the king back, no, he's gonna cut your head off. It's like it's not like. I don't know. It's not even like you might not even get a trial. You might just get like some kangaroo court where it's like you just get shown the power of the state before they cut your head off, pretty much.
If it's true the way you're describing, then it almost sounds like the modern age is much less brutal and tyrannical in forms of our government.
Yeah, but maybe more fleecy.
What do you mean by fleecy?
Maybe it's like able to fleece more people out of more money just because they're more apathetic.
What's fleece?
Huh?
What's fleece?
Like I'm fleecing. It's like it's just a saying. Like I'm fleecing you out of money. It's more like gross. Like that's pretty much what I'm trying to say.
Like I'm taking your money in silly little ways.
Yeah, I mean, you just waste money that you do get, because it doesn't matter, like, you can just give the government almost infinite money, and if it just spends it stupidly, it doesn't matter all the time. Like, it won't get anything done socially for the people that it's supposed to be helping, you know what I'm saying?
That's a funny thing when it comes to spending money, that it's possible to do it so stupidly.
It's so stupid. It's pretty funny when you start hearing the specific stories of the government spending money, just like, oh, you just did that for that many years, and like you just the government like is a slow machine, so I understand like it takes a long time to like just fix problems with it, but sometimes it's just ridiculous the problems it comes up with and how much money gets wasted, especially in the military. Because in the military you could always attribute like entire wars being a waste of time. Like, you could be like Vietnam, all waste of time, you know. You could just you could start saying things like that if you wanna, you know. Is it church always?
I would like to argue that Vietnam is not a wasted war.
Not a wasted war.
It's not a wasted war.
Alright. Well, what do you want to get out of the war? What do you think the state of the
Look,
war
hold
was?
on. I say it's not a wasted war because unfortunately it was a lethal lesson about how unrealistic our ideals are as a country.
The lesson was not worth all the people getting killed.
I beg to differ.
Yes, we lost Vietnam. Well, yeah, by my metric, we lost Vietnam. Yeah.
Oh, by almost every metric we lost Vietnam other than kill count.
So what's
Yeah,
it
but
worth it?
It wasn't about kill count though. We had nukes at the time. We could have just been like,
That's
oh,
why I
hey,
said.
I'll
That's
kill
why I
you.
said.
Hey, I wouldn't be here if you guys did that. Don't do that.
Hey, we did fuck with Canada a lot at the same time. We just pretended like we weren't.
No, I said we
Look up
lost in
Operation
every
Menu.
metric. I said we lost in every metric except kill count. As in, like,
Yeah.
if you measure it by anything
And
that's
how many-
actually important, we
Yeah.
lost. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And how much destruction we did to their country in general. Just like
We just pretty much
dropping
fucked up their
bombs.
country. They ended up communists anyway, and we constantly had friendly fire.
Now, why do you
pretty
think
funny.
it was a failure of ideal or dedication to and pursuit of
We
making
didn't
other
learn the
people?
lesson though. That's the thing. We did the same thing in Iraq. That's why I think it was a failure.
We didn't do the same thing in Iraq. We invaded Iraq for oil.
Yeah, but it was also just like very misguided pretense, and then we just stay in there like way longer than we should, even though the public knows like we shouldn't. I don't know.
I feel like it wasn't a misguided pretense, more so just a cover up for the fact that they just wanted. I feel like the higher ups for Iraq and Afghanistan, you can call it a war for freedom, but I call it a war for oil and opiates. And now we have a drug crisis and our gas prices are ridiculously high. So I don't know, man. It feels like we lost that war too.
Lost what war?
Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We did the same thing again. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I didn't say we learned our lesson.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I didn't say we
You didn't
learned the lesson from Vietnam.
You said it was a valuable lesson at the beginning of this. I thought.
Yeah, it was a valuable lesson. Doesn't mean we took it for its
Yeah,
value.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's like we didn't.
Valuable lesson to who?
Yeah, we disagree. I mean, we agree. Yeah.
Valuable lesson to who?
Us, I guess. That could look at it like people, not like a whole government. Though.
Well, that is interesting that you say that, because if we were for, to example, get more involved in like local elections and things along those lines, either running or voting more and getting to know the topics, that is a way in which we could take that information and make it implemented in the government. Like, that's actually the power we have in our form of government. Like, this is how, well, one of the ways we have power, so I've heard, to change it, get involved on that small level and like start to build up and do that collectively on networks throughout the country. So in that way, if we were to take it and use it in a way that made it worthwhile, that Vietnam pain could, at least in part, be good, worthwhile. I don't know the exact word for it.
I don't know.
No, I'm not saying overall. I'm just saying in part. Like, despite all the like atrocities,
I know
we're
what you're
fucking
saying,
yeah.
You're
done
not
in that
saying
war.
overall. You're
Our
saying
corruption
like,
at that point
we
was
can turn it
ridiculous
into
to
something
what
good.
Mhm.
We can turn it into something good as best as we can.
Yeah. That being said, to continue doing things like that as a country sounds.
Just like we gotta have a war every 18 years for some resources.
For what reason to like? And what are the justifications?
A lot of the
behind
justification in
that?
my mind is just like we have this military-industrial complex that just like, in order for it to exist, it needs to have wars happen because otherwise, like, it doesn't justify just like keeping making weapons and like shit like that. Like it's partially just like a corporation thing. Just like you got this corporation that just like makes like a bunch of bombs and tanks and jets and shit, and you gotta use them. You gotta use them.
As you're saying this, I'm brought to mind a TED Talk, which he said this so ridiculously, at least in my opinion, but someone who studies politics much more than I do said that I want to make it sexy again. And that's just like verbatim what he said, which I was like, sexy is really, that's the word you're using? But anyway, yeah, he wants to make it attractive to people in a way you actually enjoy taking in. As I look at it at the moment, at least for me and a lot of my experience, so many people have just been bored by politics, either bored or it's just an unpleasant thing that doesn't seem to impact you too
I wish it was
directly.
like, you ever see like old fashioned shit where it's like people are fighting in the Senate sometimes as it gets so heated in like other countries? You see other countries sometimes
Yeah,
you
where
get
they
stabbed.
literally fight like in the
Yeah, they literally brawl. Oh, that's awesome. I wish it was like that.
That sounds terrible.
No, but imagine like fucking Joe Biden like having to throw down against somebody. Like that's the only thing I'd respect in that. Think about this. Slow down. Manny Pacquiao. Think about how much more respected of a leader he is in his country. Because it's like, yeah, I'm the man. Like I fucking fight on TV all the time. Could you imagine Joe Biden fighting on TV? No, because he's not fit. And that should be like part of the qualification.
I honestly,
You don't see him jogging all the time. There's so many. I'm I'm not saying that equates to the entire overall fairness, but that has been a funny.
I've
He's taking
seen
himself more seriously as a leader. That's all
I've
I'm
seen a
saying.
video of Joe Biden straight up just trying to ride a bike and then just falling over completely. And that doesn't scream
It's the
average
opposite.
American though.
Yeah.
I feel like he represents America really well because
He's old though. He's ancient, dude. He's older than most Americans are gonna live. How old is he?
I don't know actually, but I know that he's out of shape and stupid. Therefore,
Why do you know
that's
he's out of
stupid.
shape and stupid,
I don't
Dallas?
think he's that stupid. He's probably smart.
I guess I wouldn't call it
knows things.
stupid.
I
I'm
don't
saying
know.
stupid in a general term of like, damn, he makes himself look pretty bad quite often.
Oh, dude, that gets weird. I wonder how much of that is simply. Imagine you look at your entire life, and you just cut out the parts of it that were the most embarrassing, stupid, unflattering parts of your life you could possibly imagine, and then imagine those were put into highlight reels, and that's shown as this is you. And where there's some people who gather that information and will share it sparingly with really good titles and articles and things along those lines. So it's like I'm painting this picture of a person, and there's so many of those movements to choose from when you're looking at an entire person's life. Especially, hold on, I just looked up his age.
Some people, if you did that, would be pretty awesome.
79
if you did
years.
That, though.
If you were to take all my failures and embarrassing
It'd be
moments
awesome.
and put a
It'd be
collage
so
of
funny.
it, it would literally beat any of his peaks at any moment, I guarantee.
Dude, imagine the time he walked in the ice lake, Dallas. The time he longboarded in vacation. Like, there's some funny. There's
Joe
some-
Biden was literally the vice president under Obama.
Okay,
That's
but
pretty
did he do
crazy.
any- okay, what did he do? Oh, he fucking killed
Did
a bunch of people. I don't know. I feel like he drove so much babies. I don't know what he did. Like,
I don't know what he did
He
actually.
did
I
some
haven't
bad
looked into his
things.
record. I bet he did do some bad things. I'm just wondering also the good things, and I don't know.
I
So
wonder
maybe I
if
should
that
learn.
outweighs the good. I doubt it.
I feel like it's a hard conversation to have because I don't know shit about politics, and like Alex was talking about, there's just a large conglomeration?
Maybe.
Is that a word?
Continue with the sentence. I'll maybe be able to tell you.
There's a large collection of just embarrassing moments of Joe Biden, and that's pretty much all I gather. But then again, I have seen him deliver speeches, and he doesn't hold a train of thought very well, and he's not very articulate from what I've seen. And I feel like that's important.
I feel like the average person you meet on the street is more articulate than Joe Biden.
But I don't see. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if I'll relate that necessarily to intelligence. More so, just like if you get to a certain age, it's just hard as fuck to like
Yeah.
gather your thoughts.
I mean,
you
not
might
all
have,
the
you
time,
might
but
have them.
sometimes.
Well, yeah, I'm saying like that might affect some people in that way, to where it's just like I'm having thoughts, they just don't come out correctly. Doesn't mean he's thinking incorrectly. It just means maybe his body literally can't perform at the speed his brain is moving.
I will say that some of the videos and whatnot that I've seen of him on the worst moments, it hasn't looked good, especially when it comes to forgetting where he is, remembering really wrong numbers about. Well, which is kind of funny as I'm saying that I actually forget the specifics of what I'm talking about, but listing ridiculously off numbers.
He's an unintentional Trump.
Go ahead, Chubbs.
You just said one word, it doesn't matter.
But at least from what I've seen, it doesn't
Yeah,
look
he
like the
fucks up
best
like as much
person.
as
I
Trump,
think.
but he's just unintentionally doing it. It feels like.
Which is so weird. Like, really, those are the two people who made it to the rungs of choice.
No, those are the two people that were placed on those pedestals by rich old people.
And then all
who
the
want-
shit she
want
all
the
voted
laws
for
to
him,
pass.
and
Yeah,
that's what you kept getting.
they just get the people who will pass the laws. We live in a world of bribing politics, and if you don't think that, then you are
You think that's the norm of how America operates? You think more than 50% of all the people get like put into office?
I wouldn't say all the people, like local governments, probably not, because why the fuck would, what is Big Pharma gonna come up to some random governor in some random county and be like, I want you to support my ideals? I mean, it's a possibility, but I would say major government, yeah.
Where do you reach the point of major government in your definition?
Like they control national laws. Like,
So
as
like
in,
senators,
that's not national.
governors?
Senators? Of a state?
Mm-hmm.
Of a state?
Yeah, talking about national laws.
Of a state? Not the nation?
We're talking about throughout the whole
Like the
nation.
Senate? No.
We're talking about a law being passed in a singular state or throughout the whole nation. Like,
Throughout the whole nation.
oh, okay. For federal, I don't know exactly the people who are involved in
That's my point.
justices. Maybe House of Representatives. Maybe the collection of all the senators. I forget the specifics. Dude, how to make that shit not sexy. Hold on, the point I was fucking saying earlier, just how to make it something cool, something interesting.
Have Mortal Kombat involved, man. They need to have fucking those things like in the other countries. I said, or imagine if the debates, if you're allowed to like get into the person's face like WWE and just like, you know, I'll fucking choke slam you through this fucking pass, you know? Because imagine if Dwayne The Rock Johnson ran for president and then he was fucking like, you know, President Camacho in fucking Idiocracy, man. It'd be amazing. If you really just wanted it sexy. I think that's where you'd have to go. Dude, they already had Trump as president. He was literally in the WWE. He was a fucking reoccurring character.
Sexy without being catastrophically self-destructive. And maybe Trump was that. I didn't look extremely deeply into who he was and what he passed. To be completely honest,
he was just like the sexier candidate. Because fucking Hillary, she was just like, she's not exciting enough. The Trump base was just way more excited about Trump than the Hillary base was about Hillary.
I remember one thing from Hillary's campaign, and it's when she said, "Pokemon go to the polls."
The most cringy statement ever.
That stuck with me more than any. That single-handed statement stuck with me more than any of her ideals and actual beliefs. So if that doesn't say something about American politics, I don't know what does. Other than the fact that I don't pay attention to American politics, if you haven't been able to gather that.
I appreciate your honesty, Dallas. I wonder if that's an important thing for us to focus on and get to understand. So Dario had said shit throughout the whole podcast.
You're talking about politics.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, alright guys, what could be a non-politics?
Alex?
In what election?
Talk about politics, get hot. Who did you vote for in the last election?
Voted for Biden.
Oh.
Let's get sexy about these politics, boys.
Do you regret that decision, Alex? Or do you think that was a good decision? Do you think your vote helped, hurt, or was neutral for America?
You know what might be the worst part? I don't know. And that, as I look back on that decision, one of the things that I thought about that might not be so great is the fact that I made a decision about who, like, I put an effort, I put a sway, I put force behind who should become president. And I didn't look very deeply into it. I kind of just saw Trump. He wasn't Trump, and he would other likely person to win. And he doesn't seem as bad. He seemed like a normal kind of go back to Obama vibe. And I was like, oh, things were peaceful, at least for me, and calm and chill during then. But during Trump, it was kind of scary, and like people. I'm just letting the emotional part of me fly. Well, maybe that's what I'm doing. I can't even say. Dallas seemed like you want to say something.
Donald Trump caused a riot at the Capitol.
That was awesome. Awesome. Man. I didn't say it's positive.
Define awe, Seth. For the love of God.
It was interesting. Like I say all the time, it was interesting, Alex. Was it not interesting? It was interesting.
People died.
What other words would you use to describe? Let's use 5 words to describe that. Aside from awesome and interesting.
Spectacular. It was a spectacle.
Okay, wait, how are you defining awe? That's really important.
When you break down the meaning of the word spectacular and take away the connotation of it, yes.
But that brings to a really important thing. So how are you defining awe? If you said it's awesome, so it's awe-inspiring and created the feeling of awe in you, how are you defining awe?
It was crazy as shit, dog. It was crazy. That's another word I would say.
I think I want to be really clear that awesome, at least for me, often leans towards a positive feeling of something that I'm enjoying that is going on. And that is not the feeling I had when I learned about January 6th. I felt like, oh no, like there was a deep, like, seated uneasiness that I had never felt before when I heard about that. Like, all these arguments I've been seeing in family that I've never seen before reaching new intensity, between just the culture zeitgeist, right, the fucking spirit in different news outlets and things along those lines, it seemed like it was reaching a fever, an unseen before fever pitch. Like, I've heard so many people say, like, even my dad, other family members I've talked to, like, I've never seen something like this before. I've never seen so much, like, friction between people in our country, and just to think about that becoming something physically explosive, violent on like a large scale. Maybe I'm, dude, and one of the weird things is that I wonder sometimes if I'm totally off by having that fear. Like if it's...
Yeah, because at the end of the day, not that many. I mean, that much friction, was it a lot of friction? Yeah, it was a lot of friction. How many people died? You say? Like, I don't know. Like, less than 10?
I think like a handful.
Yeah, like a handful.
Like 6,
How
7.
many people died in Ruby Ridge? How many people died at these race riots? How many people died at, you know, these mass shootings in LA?
I would
or
say...
at a nightclub, or, you know, there's lots of fucking crazy events, you know.
I would say it's more so important when you think of the fact that that is like our nation's capital.
Yeah.
It's not. It wasn't like a riot. Like it was like a.
Riot's a whole city though, so not. It's like a city.
I get that, but like it's different when it's like that is our nation's capital. They didn't, and it wasn't just the capital. They went into what are the fucking building they go into?
Capitol
The
Hill.
mall.
Okay, yeah.
See the Capitol Hill, man.
Yeah, and it's like
The mall?
The mall. Yeah, that's what it's called, the mall, with the Washington Monument.
Is it called a mall?
Yeah.
I know that. I think what made the friction occur was that Trump was really good at directing emotion, not so much as like presenting ideals and like I don't know how to word this.
Take your time.
He was just like really good at creating emotional reactions and then directing them to his agendas, but they weren't ever like. They didn't really have like good backings to them, so I feel like that's why it was frustrating for people who supported Trump, because it was like most people who supported Trump were like emotional supporters, and then if you were to like dissect that and like try to question that, it turns into an emotional argument, because if their beliefs are emotional and not actually backed up by like thoughts and facts, it's just like, oh, why do you think this is? It's like, oh, it's just because you're fucking stupid. It's just like, okay. I feel like it was just easy to blow up, because usually when people get pressed about a subject they don't know about, they retaliate with just friction, yeah, rather than an actual conversation.
You said when people respond about something they don't know about, they tend to respond with friction?
Yeah.
Friction. Now what? It's funny you say that. My mom said something similar earlier today, and
Me and your mom are very similar.
Dude, it's weird to contrast that, and maybe I'm biased at the moment, with a lot of the joy I found in not knowing things, especially as of late, in the last like month or so, to start to dive in more to all the things that I don't know what they are, but I've taken them as fact. Like it could be as simple as like a lot of.
What if the election was rigged, Alex, with Trump? Huh? You ever think about that?
I want you to participate.
And what if it legitimately was a rigged election, and then they just like, hey, we're gonna let him rig it, or we're just gonna fucking man up and siege his capital? What do you do then? Imagine if you were on the side being fucked with, and you knew that it was rigged for some reason.
You knew that it was rigged? No. Oh, that becomes I don't know what it means to know something, so I don't even know if I'm telling the truth whenever I say I don't know or I know something.
You know things though. You know you're in a garage.
If I know.
I hate
you know you're in a garage though. I don't know. What
exactly.
But you do know you're in a garage.
No,
just with the way the language works.
I'm gonna disagree with Alex immediately. Just because you can't specifically explain something doesn't mean that you don't know something.
Exactly. Yeah.
Then define know for me, please.
No, because it's just an emotional thing. You just know. And if you want to argue that, that's your own prerogative.
Like, you
but
can't
I'm not
define
gonna sit here
time,
and
you
be
can't
like,
define like color, you can't. There's a lot of things you can't define, but they still exist.
yeah, it's just like I'm still like if you're just like, is there a camera in front of you? Yes. How do you know?
Define
It's
an
like
idea.
go fuck
It's
yourself.
like, I don't
Come
know
on,
what
dude.
an idea is.
Well, think about, okay, well, hold on. The only way words, it seems to me, work is because they have definitions. Not only definitions, but definitions that I can translate between millions of people, and we all have the same, idea, framework for what we're describing?
What's an idea?
Restrictions? And that's good. I think that's a good question. What is an idea? Maybe. It's like this, it can be a combination of simulations in your head, words that you like.
Maybe.
It could be words produced in your head, visuals, sounds.
It could be.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dude,
I honestly don't know. That's what I'm saying, maybe.
You can't just live life going like, I just don't know anything though, or else you just can't even start any conversation. So it's just like, it's pretty I don't know. You have to get past that first. Like, I don't know anything.
That's why that might be why I've been spending more prolonged periods of just not talking, because it's like, wait a minute, am I just lying in so much of my speech and just saying things that I truly don't understand? And maybe other reasons, and maybe those are wrong, because it's very strange to try to realize when I'm trying to find out truth, reality, what it is,
Like, why do you
and I'm using these words and I don't know what they mean.
Just sugar syrup.
It's like, how much of what I'm saying is just nonsense? And like, why bother speaking if I'm speaking all or mostly nonsense?
If I think long enough, I probably could find a definition for the word no.
Right? And that might be the phase I'm in right now, where I'm just kind of observing, and I don't know if it's thinking specifically that is telling me whether or not, if anyone wants more drinks, by the way, like, the mix is here, if you'd like some. What were they saying?
Something about fear.
He doesn't know.
Oh,
That's where Dallas left.
oh wait, Seth, do you remember? One of the last things I was saying when I was on my spiel? Mm-hmm.
No.
Talking about knowing.
I know that.
I just want to point out.
I know that.
I just want to point out that Alex is a regular offender of loophole questions that just will always go down a rabbit hole, and if you can't answer the rabbit hole conglomeration of why, then you just apparently don't know.
Yes, I agree with that.
Just like, yes.
But I'm not.
Yeah,
But maybe you don't
turns
need
into
to
You don't
know.
know anything. If you just say you don't know, like, what an idea is, or what time is, or what colors are, like, there's a lot of weird things out there that are very hard to define. You still don't understand what they are.
It's
like,
funny.
what is heat? It's like, I don't know what heat is. It's like, just because you don't know enough physics to describe heat on a deeper level. Because even if you do know how to describe something, you could always go, oh, what's that? Like, there's always the next why you could ask. There's always the next why you could ask. And eventually you just get to some weird word that's really hard to define.
Well, you are saying it's always the next why you could ask, but I'm getting stuck on like the first why. Like, what does why mean? What does no mean? What is what? Like, what is it? It sounds so ridiculous, but as I've been thinking it lately, I don't know.
What is a word? How about that?
Yeah, that is a good question.
It's a 4-letter word. This was just under the table. I just want to push it on.
No, keep it under. It's,
Oh, okay.
it's stopping it from bouncing and bobbling.
You're gonna have to use your hand to actually push it down. No, don't lift that up, push the mat down.
The Mac.
Key.
I think I would like Chubbs engaged in a conversation. Chubbs.
I agree.
I think we should switch up. I think we should switch up a conversation in which Chubbs feels like he would like to talk about. So Chubbs, I would like you to pick a topic you would like to discuss, even if it doesn't even mean that you want to talk immediately. I'd like you to pick something that you're just interested in that we can talk about, and then you might chime in, because it seems that the possibility of you chiming in this conversation is like close to zero. You don't have to talk. Chubbs has clearly never been to a glory hole.
I don't know. I get the sense that might be on one of the stories.
Just say.
No, let's just sit in silence until, Centaura feels the inspiration. We could sit until we're done with the podcast. This could just be the end. We just say it for like an hour and a half while we wait for Centaura to say something.
I strongly disagree with that idea.
I've had this discussion before. What do you think about mutual combat laws?
Can you describe that for me so I can more accurately respond to that?
Do you think two men should have the right to kill each other in the streets if they want to, if they would consent?
Wait,
to
so
it?
not women? Is there an age limit for when you're allowed to do this?
No. I say no. Give these kids freedom.
I feel like they would learn consequences real quick.
You don't have to challenge. You just sign a bunch of
Well,
people.
the ones that made. You have to sign a bunch of
Before
papers.
you do it, yeah, to like consent.
I feel
Or
like
videotape yourself
if you can somehow come up with a test to prove that you're mentally stable enough to
What does that
understand.
mean?
Wait. I'm sorry, Dal. I have to jump
Who
in with
cares if
this.
you're mentally stable?
Seth-
What if you're not? What if you are?
What if you're not old enough? You don't know how to write your name
Stable.
yet. You're too young to write your name, but you really want to fight this person. So do you have to write your signature to be allowed
Yes.
to be suitable? So there is an age restriction.
Yeah.
At least the age where you're.
We have to write we ought to write your signature, yeah. But if you can write your signature at a super fucking early age, then it's fine.
What if the so like you're saying like you have to be able to sign your signature?
That's like the first thing you learn.
Chubb said
You have to be able to
that's like
think-
the first thing you learn.
You have to be able to like talk and like write your signature to like talk to people.
Some kids literally learn to write before they learn to speak.
And you can use like various weapons too. It's not just a fist fight. It could be like, you know, knives, shotguns,
Let's
whatever.
be shotguns.
Oh, knives, shotguns, whatever. Is there a nuke drop off? Like, where?
Nah, you can't
Whoa,
do
whoa.
anything like that.
What do you mean? What if you can afford it?
Well, that's horrible for the environment. Nah, you can't do that.
Oh, wait.
But you're gonna argue that a shotgun's just as bad for the environment as a fucking nuke out?
No, that's
what
not-
am I meant to hear now?
That's not
What
what
am I
I
meant
can
to
argue.
hear?
What I was about to say, take it with a grain of salt, is
Okay.
maybe flying stray bullets that miss their target
Yeah, you have to
aren't
go to
as bad as nukes.
Nah, but you have to fucking go to an environment that's safe, like miles away from
So we have to now invest funds to
Nah,
building a bunch of
who
arenas
said who we? It's the people that agree to fight. They have to
that have
drive
to fund their own.
Yeah, that's to fund their own fight, yes. Is that too much to ask? Yeah, if they want to fight, they have
Oh,
to
it's
fund it.
that, but not an age limit.
So
So
it
it's
loops
easier
back-
to fucking fight the people that want to fight each other. Okay,
So it
that makes
loops.
more
So it
sense.
loops all the way around to the common American problem
Lock them up for wanting to
of
fight.
this
each
is
other.
now a classist thing. You're
What?
saying.
Wait,
So
what?
you're saying it's classist. Now you're saying the restrictions aren't age. It's literally your funds. Is that what I'm hearing?
No, I'm saying he was
You
telling
said that you have to be able to
No,
fund
I think you
your
misunderstood. I think you misunderstood. Because he was talking about like because I said like you use various weapons like
Stupid ass.
shotguns and stuff, and then he said like, oh, it's dangerous if you have a shotgun because you might just shoot somebody else by accident. So now I said like, oh, well, they would have to like drive to a secluded area, and then they would have to fund their drive to the secluded area. Because he started bringing up like, oh, we have to fund
I see. It was
their
your
drive.
it was your counter.
Yeah,
to,
yeah, it's just
okay,
like you have
I
to
see.
fund just like the travel to your own fucking fight destination.
I feel like firearms should
If you're
have
in
a
the
limit.
desert though,
I feel like the firearm should be a limit because
Yeah.
it's like
like whatever you can like have like.
I feel like
license
I feel like a musket duel.
yeah.
I think I would draw the line at a musket.
I'd go above that. I'd go like AR-15 if you're in the right like environment. I don't give a shit. Like if you're miles away from people, if you really want to kill each other with AR-15s, like I don't see a problem with it.
I don't either actually.
Yeah, it's like if you're
okay.
shooting each other with a musket. It's like,
Dallas, I feel like you're joking, but I'm
I'm
curious. So you think having
Two men.
two 4-year-olds? No, because you said write your fucking name on a piece of paper.
yeah, if their parents
So
allow them
two
to,
4-year-olds.
yeah, sure.
Oh, so their parents have to allow.
Well, if you're 4 years old, your parents have to allow you to do anything. You don't have money to do anything yourself at 4 years old, Alex. So yeah, your parents have to allow you to do it. You can't leave the house.
So it's
at
not
4
an,
years old.
so it runs back to an age limit because you have to have
Well, yeah.
you have to have parents
At a
parents
certain age,
agree
yeah.
with you.
But that's with anything in life when you're fucking really young.
That's not true.
Yes,
Because you
it is
have
true.
the freedom to break the law at any age.
Okay, well then at any age you can do whatever you want technically. But
You don't legally wait, Dallas. You don't legally have the right to break the law at any age, Dallas.
Obviously not. I said you have the freedom to do so. Remember that.
We're talking about the freedom to go fight, and that's enforced. The restrictions are put in place by the law. And obviously, this ridiculous conversation, regardless. So I don't know why I'm putting so many literal, was it grammar Nazis on you, Dallas? But here you go.
So why'd you go to Nazis when you look at me?
Yeah, racist.
So about this racism towards white people that I was talking about earlier.
What do you have to say for yourself? Grandmaster Pneumatic Shaman.
You could have easily have said, you know, I'm sorry that I'm being so anal about this conversation, but no, you went with, oh, I'm a grammar Nazi.
You said, nah, that's not what I heard. That's not what I heard, guys. You said, you're that Nazi. Oh, the grammar kind. That's what I heard. Play the tape back.
Deborah, can we get a rerun here? Can I have some lemon juice?
Edited.
Can I have some lemon juice?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Raw lemon juice, put it right in your eyeball. Get rid of the process.
Oh no. I was snotted everywhere.
There are tissues nearby.
That looks good now.
Yeah, man, but I don't see a problem with neutral combat laws if you just want to.
This is just.
Do you honestly think 2 4-year-olds should be allowed with AR-15s and their parents' consent?
If the following fucking things are met, they're in a safe location, right? They're in a safe location.
Safe for who? They're fighting with AR-15s.
Down, we gotta let him
Down, so let me finish. If it's safe, as in there, no one outside the fight will be shot with an AR-15 by accident, like they're miles away. In the
Oh no, I
desert,
get
so.
that. Don't worry.
Alex gets me. Yeah, Alex, you get me on this idea, see? We gotta come around.
He gets you in the sense, I think he gets you in the sense that he understands what you're saying, not the fact that he agrees with you, my guy.
Yeah.
It is much
I'm just
appreciated.
fucking
For that most accurate.
But anyway, they're in
Or
they're in a
potentially.
location where they won't like accidentally shoot anyone, so that's the first thing. So like
Okay.
distance around them. 2, they have their parents' consent. 3, they can like answer some course, like they have to like be videotaped, like I consent to this fight between blah blah at this time with these weapons and these fucking restrictions. The fight will be 10 minutes long or will be a draw, and you know whatever whatever the fucking parameters of the fight are. Explained. And if they have their parents' consent, yeah, at that age, because at that age you just need your parents' consent to do anything. But it's not. But like, if you could do all the other things by yourself, then yeah.
If
I'll
you
see a
like,
problem with it, Alex.
if you like beat your child, you can like lose your child. What you're saying, it should be legal for parents to be like, I'm okay with my child possibly dying to another child's hand.
Yeah.
So,
Alright, maybe
Seth,
it
what
should-
do you think
alright,
is
maybe it
the-
shouldn't be a child thing. Maybe it should get to be like 18 to do it. Maybe.
There we go.
now I have now I have deep-rooted curiosity. We can move past this if you want, but why do you think at all that there should be
18, man. I had you guys convinced me.
now?
I'm just saying. You guys convinced me. The child thing is like it's hard to I'm trying to give people freedom, but
Why is that your first strive for freedom? Is like, oh, I want this country to be more free. You should be able to fight to the death. That's number one priority.
Hey, man,
If we're
the fact
talking
that
about
you can't-
political problems, it's fighting to the death.
because that's a fun one to talk about.
I have no counter for that. Yes.
This has been quite fun, so I guess I agree with you on that part.
But anyway, yeah, what if it was 18 and older? Then I feel like it's fair. Because then at 18, it's like, alright, you can be drafted, you can drive a car, you can do a bunch of dangerous shit. So then you should be able to fight people. Because you can already box and shit, so you already can fight people in a weird way. You already just do like things that are really dangerous. Like NASCAR that you can die in or whatever.
Ah, that gets weird.
I don't know. I feel like if you can, I feel like because we have a military, strictly, like that would be my underlying reason as to why we should be able to fight to the death in like a duel that we choose. Because our military just fights to death for a duel that like a random politician chooses.
Which is sometimes like unjust, and we can find out years later or during.
So how can you argue that 2 consenting adults shouldn't be able to kill each other when they do that, but it's usually just like, oh, well, I made this reason and I'm in power, so that's okay.
I agree. That's my logic with Dallas. Is like if it's two adults that they understand their reasons and they want to fight for their reasons.
You know what's
said?
that?
Like,
Out
no.
of pure curiosity, do they have to come up with the same type of weapon?
If they choose the parameters beforehand, so it's like, dude, I think this really happened in like medieval times. They did, I forget what the reason was, but for some reason they used to make a man fight his wife.
I saw a picture.
But he was in like a pit though, like very like waist deep I think, and he could only like punch I think or something like that. And then she got like a net and some like weird weapon or some sort like that. And it was like weird duel. I feel like it's not like, it doesn't have to be equal weapons. That's bullshit. It's just whatever weapons you decide on. In my opinion.
If you can both decide beforehand,
yeah.
Now I'm trying to
as long as you agree that it's like these.
With the points you're
I'm
making,
not gonna come
I'll
up
go to
like,
you a second now.
I have AR-15.
With the point you're making, I'm really just wondering, okay, what would be could I create a steelman argument against this point for not allowing duels to the death amongst 18 plus citizens?
Suicide's illegal.
Yeah, it's not suicide.
That's my counter.
It's not suicide.
You're not allowed to kill yourself if you want.
It's not suicide. Someone else is fucking you.
That's what I'm saying though. Is, my counter is suicide's illegal. Why should duels not be illegal if that's technically suicide in a way? You're consenting to being killed.
Yeah. But you're saying suicide is illegal?
Yes.
Well, so
Well, hold out real quick. Just
that's
dueling
suicide,
to
though.
dueling to the death is illegal right now, though. So if being
Dueling to
illegal
the- okay,
is
let's
what
be
stops
clear.
it, well, is that because if being illegal is what stops it from being okay, which is seems to me to be your point with because suicide's illegal. Clearly, we find dying by choice a bad thing in our society, except for some rare exception. So if it being illegal part is what stops you from like going with that, well then dueling is already illegal. So then that would already be the argument against dueling. Like,
but the argument is why we should make it legal, and then my counter was just there's other things very close to that are illegal. Do you think those should be legal too?
I don't think suicide should be fucking illegal, first off.
I also don't. So, I don't disagree with you. I'm just simply trying to poke holes in your argument, just to see what your answers are. I, for one, think two consenting adults should be able to duel to the death because I'm pretty bored in life, and I could watch that. That'd be pretty fun.
I don't think suicide should be illegal unless you like jump off of like a building or something.
Suicide should be illegal when you put other people in danger. If you're like in an apartment building, like I'm gonna shoot myself. It's like okay, that might like go through the wall and hurt someone.
Yeah.
You can hang yourself.
ooh, doubt. Thanks, real quick. Do you have to pass a certain
Well, you said how
check
I feel
or
around it.
do you have to pass a certain check or test to be allowed to commit suicide or enter into this duel? Like, no. So anybody who is at some why? Real quick. Well, not even quick. Just why?
What did you say? You have to pass like a psychological evaluation before you.
Some equivalent to that. To say you
What
are
is
in
some
a
equivalent though? It's like, is it going to be in depth?
some
as
test,
fuck?
some
Or
yeah,
like
to find out whether you're
how
allowed
in-depth,
to kill yourself. That's a good question. I wouldn't know the specifics. I don't know the details of tests.
Because if it's like super exclusive test, then no. Because you can't just be like, oh well, you didn't pass our super arbitrary test, so therefore no one can do it just because I want to find a way to like change this law without changing the law by just making it so no one's sound nothing to it, you know?
Well, then should we not put people into asylums?
No, I'm not saying that this evaluation is legitimate. What I'm trying to say is that you shouldn't just do that just to be able to exercise your freedom, to be able to duel people / kill yourself / do all. I remember we had the conversation like this before.
I think the argument, if I may somewhat speak from your idea, I think the argument coming from Alex is that some people might be in like emotionally driven states or some type of psychosis to where they're not thinking as they normally would, therefore make regretful choices, but these choices just happen to be life or death choices. Meaning like that would be the reason behind the test.
If I'm the life and death, I'm not gonna lie, I zoned out for a good bit what you were saying, so I couldn't say. But
He's
just
just saying
from what
like
I
the
got.
stakes are higher, so you
Yeah,
have
the
to,
stakes are really
take it
high.
seriously.
Which would be the same
Well,
reason
yeah,
why you're
yeah.
put into an insane asylum, because you're not what.
Do you have to do that before you go on like NASCAR and like drive really fast and shit like that, pass like psychological
The
tests?
intention of going into NASCAR or UFC or football is not to die. The
Hey!
intention of suicide. Okay,
From
I
whose
would bet
perspective?
it is often not the perspective of the sports people.
The people,
sports
it's
people.
not to die, but it's not to die in the death match either. You're trying to kill the other person. It's like you're not trying to die. It doesn't have to be a death match too. It could also just be
Okay,
a
I was thinking of suicide for a second.
Oh, suicide.
But for the death match,
Death match is like that's just a really risky behavior. That's not necessarily like I'm gonna die. It could just be it doesn't have to be a death match. It could also just be like we're gonna fight like we'll just brutally beat each other up until like cops pull us apart.
A lot of things we're allowed to do in this country are inherently super dangerous and lethal. For instance, driving. I could take my car, go 140 miles an hour, and crash, like on purpose.
yeah, but that's not legal.
That goes back to the argument of just like but the government gives me the ability to have that machine to do so.
Yeah, the government does.
The government gives you guns, it doesn't mean it's okay to go and shoot a bunch of people down unless you're allowed.
It doesn't give me the freedom to do so, but it gives me an easier ability to do so, and that should be taken into some sort of consideration.
If I were talking about whether or not duels should be legal.
Yes, and I'm just arguing that we have things that are legal that are inherently super dangerous and could be used
Duels
to
aren't
kill
that
more
dangerous. You
people.
have to agree to a fucking duel.
And
duel's
also,
not gonna
those
jump
duels
out
are-
of a bush and attack you. It doesn't make sense. I don't know. Duel, like if that was legal tomorrow, like what you call it? What we were talking about, mutual combat laws.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be scary at all because it's just like just don't get in a fight with anyone. It's just like and then it's just murder and they try to kill you.
I feel like if we wrap all the way back to the beginning of some of the guidelines to this, I feel like if you have to clearly consent and like read and sign documents and prove that you're understanding
Of the
I think
documents.
you have to prove that you understand what is going on, what
Like,
you're actually risking,
Yeah.
and understand like the situation. Like I agree with having to take the test. It would just have to be a good test, but not a restrictive test. Like if you judge the fish on the
Yeah, exactly. If you start talking about like, oh, you have any mental defect and you can't fucking fight anymore, it's like then it starts getting squirrely. Like you can't do
It's
that.
like you have slight ADHD.
Yeah.
Like you have slight ADHD, you can't
Fights
be in this
off.
fight.
So a reasonable good test. And then of course it comes down to the problem of trying to find a reasonable or good test to find out whether or not someone is allowed to fight to the death. Which is that's a high magnitude thing. That's a very high magnitude thing. That impacts a lot. It seems like it does to me. Then that goes back to what I was saying earlier about knowing. Maybe sometimes it's better just let the thoughts flow.
So one of the stipulations you had for your deathmatch, Seth, was that other people should be okay as long as they're in an area where other people can't be harmed, correct?
Yeah. So like, but it kind of depends because like, if you're just like fist fighting, you don't really need like that much area. You
I
pretty much
understand.
do it like in a park or something.
Now, could I argue for the emotional harm you would cause to the people in those people's lives that are in the deathmatch? Would you
No.
count that as damage?
Nah, because then you can start talking about like any fucking like job that causes any emotional harm to anyone.
I feel like the argument would be that this is an extreme emotional damage.
Yeah, but so is like being an ice road trucker or being like a lumberjack and shit like that. Like there's a lot of jobs out there that do cause extreme emotional damage.
Yes, but not one where it's literally like the purpose of this is death.
It's not necessarily always death, but it's
You're
only death
talking
if you
about a
just-
death match.
It's only death if
That's
you
the,
just-
it's in the fucking name.
It's sometimes a death match, or sometimes it's still a fight just until someone's just like knock the fuck out.
That's a fucking UFC match.
Okay, wait. So you're saying someone's allowed to tap out at any point?
Not just like you have to agree. I said in the beginning, like you have to agree upon the stipulations before the fight. So it could be whatever fight you want. It just has to be like agreed upon ahead of time.
Okay.
Like it's not very
Okay. But so
It's
now the
dangerous.
argument is it doesn't have to be a necessarily fight to the death. But I'm just gonna say that, like, in the situations where I'm assuming the majority of them are going to be, because pretty much two people can already get into a fist fight and just walk away, or knock one out and just walk away, and as long as, like, I don't think you can just get in trouble for getting into a fight in public unless other people are harmed and they want to press charges. I think that's already legal.
I don't think that's legal. I think it's like you're disturbing a peace or something if you just got into a fist
But if
fight.
you're, but what you're saying is they go to an area where no one's affected, right?
Yeah.
You can already do that. If me and you just fought right here, right now, nothing would happen.
Well,
legally.
that's not true, but yeah. I mean,
Like, legally. Unless one of us
Unless the
decided to
neighbors-
go out of the way.
unless the neighbors called the cops.
But then we wouldn't be in a situation, then this would no longer be a situation where no one else is affected.
Well, I'm
being
curious now.
affected, is that just looking at it in any way?
If we actually got into a fight right now,
Mhm.
like, but agreed upon, like, we just want to do a fucking sparring match, super intense, max degree, like, to the death potentially, and, you know, one of us gets super mutilated or dies, would that other person, if you, like, said on video beforehand,
No,
okay,
that'd be illegal.
right, that's probably illegal. But why is that illegal? Is it for good reason?
I'm not gonna say if it's good reason or not, if the person is consenting. I was just pointing out the fact that can confirm that would be illegal if someone is dying from a death match. Because currently the combat laws are that you cannot do it. So I was just pointing out that if the stipulation for the combat is that no one else is affected in an area, that could be easily done right now by a lot of people.
Yeah, but a lot of times people do get in trouble just for fighting in public. Then, I don't know.
That
It kind of goes back to what you were saying. Yeah.
That was what I was saying though. It's just like it's like if the stipulation is going somewhere, no one can like get injured from the fight, like that can already be done. That is done.
Guns though too.
And
I guess that could be done too.
Well, now I'm saying that turns into it. Now that's the argument I'm making is like you can already do the fighting part, but we're talking about death matches because you were saying that some of them wouldn't end up in death, and that's what I was trying to specify. I was like, that's what I was trying to. That was my original point, which is like what we're talking about though would be death matches because people can already just go fight somewhere and not get in trouble.
Should be legal, yeah.
I wonder if UFC's only legal because of the refs. Like who will stop it, or who will do the best to stop it before someone dies in a fight. Anyway, okay, moving away from fucking
Death matches.
Death matches, yeah.
My lip gloss be popping. My lip gloss be cool. All the boys were jogging. They chased me to school. I think Shakespeare said that.
I think you're right, Dennis.
Oh.
I want to wait until.
Sorry, I actually remembered it was Mahatma Gandhi.
I like this Centaur pause idea.
Is polygamy illegal?
Polygamy?
Yeah.
Is that where you can have multiple wives and husbands?
Yeah, I think so.
I think
Maybe in some states.
I think polygamy is, if I'm not mistaken, I believe polygamy is directly like I think the definition of polygamy is multiple wives, not multiple husbands or anything, because it's typically a religious thing.
Is that illegal, you think?
I think you can only be legally married to one person. So I guess it would depend on what you consider marriage. If you consider it just a bond or a promise that two people make between each other, or you're talking about the marriage where government gets involved.
Nah, the legal marriage.
The legal, I believe, from speaking off the top of my head without knowing or looking it up, it's just I believe that is not legal. But I could be wrong because we have weird loopholes where it's like, oh, well, if you can prove that it's part of your religion and you do this or something like that. Like, we have a lot of loopholes for religion specifically.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
They make a lot of stupid loopholes for religion.
Like how churches just don't have to pay taxes
Yeah.
just because
I'm a church.
I'm a church.
I'm not a business. I'm a church.
Yeah, it's like I'm not.
Just like,
Dude, I went to a church one time that literally had a rec center. That was like a gym, but it was like a 2-story gym. They had a pool, they had tennis courts and a track and a workout room. And I literally was like, okay, what? Like, how is this argued for religion? I'm not coming in here like, praise the Lord, let's get this bench press, dog.
The Lord wants you strong.
That sounds like a lovely way to praise the Lord. Get strong, get fit, do muscle ups, do dragon abs.
It probably was it like a Christian place or like Catholic place or some shit like that. What they believe in?
See, I never actually went to the church itself. I just took, I did like private swim.
Dallas just got swole on the Lord.
You don't even know what religion it was?
Nah, because it wasn't attached to the church itself. It was just like the church owned it, but it wasn't literally like part of an actual. Like the church itself was a separate building, but like that was like the church's rec center. But I would go there for like a swim team there because we just needed a pool to use. And I think we paid the church to use their pool, so they were using their church as a business.
Yeah.
But they just wouldn't get taxed on it because it's a religious ground.
Yeah, churches need to be fucking swept in on and fucking stopped. It's a weird institution, but you know, they're so rich it's hard to stop them, you know.
What do we normally talk about? What would be a fun, just casual conversation?
Nah, stop being scared, Alex. Why are you scared of these conversations? Let's get more radical with these conversations, Alex.
I was thinking of
What would you like to do to these people who have stolen this much? Let's think about it. Like, everyone else has to pay taxes, but these idiots just, like, found a way to, like, brainwash everyone and just go, like, oh, well, we just don't have to because we're magical. Like, well, doesn't that piss you off, Alex?
Because I don't know why they did it. And I don't know if the reasons behind it are...
Off, honestly, to an extent.
Why should it piss me off?
Because it's unfair. You're being duped. And for some reason, compared to them, you're just being duped. I don't know. It's fucking annoying. It should be broken up almost immediately, I think. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's a huge part. Because you'd get so much tax money. Because fucking, think about how many churches, if you go in the South, dude, like half the businesses, they're not businesses, but half the buildings you see are like fucking churches. There are like 2 churches near my house. There's so many churches around. Like, church, like, I don't know, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like fucking, like 20% of the buildings around here are fucking churches or some shit. There's so many churches around.
Well, to be honest, I don't know the other argument. I don't know the argument for why should churches be allowed to not pay taxes. So
They always
when you
have.
ask me, am I mad about it? Like, maybe I don't know enough about it to feel strongly one way or the other. It's just something that's like, I don't know.
It's because you've been duped.
Well, I'm not saying I agree with the church.
No, I'm just messing. But I feel like it's because we're fucking so slow to actually be smart about things when it comes to religion. So our government's just like we still say like one nation under God, and we're like, oh, we're a land of religious freedoms, but our literal like chant is like, well, Christian or Catholic, and it's just like, okay, that seems a little backwards. Like if you were just like
say Allah,
yeah, exactly. Like if that were to be brought up, people was like, oh fuck no, absolutely not. And it's just like, okay, why not? So I'm just like, oh, because the church is good, church is great.
Yeah, it's weird when these people like show up at your house too. Like, do you want to join our church and stuff? Do you want to join our cult?
Get off and have shaky breath.
Dude, oh my god. Dude, we used to have Mormon tour buses. Did you guys ever run into that? Mormon tour buses used to come into this neighborhood and they would park somewhere and literally like the fucking sardines from SpongeBob, you know, talking about they like raid the crap, they like come pouring out of the bus like every house. And they all like go up to a house like, do you know our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ? It's like, oh my god.
Oh, let's pause for a moment, dude. Can you fucking imagine creators of SpongeBob of that episode being adults, being like people in their 30s or 40s?
sounded like an adult show by today's standards, dude.
Old
SpongeBob was like
old
an
SpongeBob
adult
was
show.
gritty.
Yes.
Old SpongeBob was quite. If you were to put like old SpongeBob, I don't think they air certain episodes from the old
They
SpongeBob
don't.
nowadays.
They literally don't, yeah. The panty raid episode they don't air, I'm sure. Because it's like too heady. Where it's like, you literally, yeah.
You're literally stealing underwear from people. It's like,
And
okay.
your own mom at one point. As part
Incest
of
panty
the
raid.
episode. Incest panty raid, dude.
What's going on, bud? Why have you said absolutely nothing? Like,
It's okay if you don't want to talk.
just make it.
What?
I don't know if you. What's up, Sheldon? What's up?
I'm just enjoying the conversation right now.
Yeah, I was just looking at the time on the laptop.
40,000 seconds.
I don't think it counts. Does it count like that?
Yes. At the very bottom. What is it at?
It's that a mystery number?
What if we talk about a simple subject like foods?
Like what? Like the food industry? Factory farming? Okay, let's talk. That McRib we just ate, we were talking about it before, how it's tied to fucking pork prices whenever they go down. They come out with a new McRib and they go, oh, it's limited time, and then all the piggies go, really? It's limited time, we gotta get it now.
So personally, I prefer chicken parm. How about you, Alex?
I like chicken parm Dallas. I'm a sushi man myself, you know.
Chicken Purdue Pharma. Look at it.
Chicken Purdue Farm?
No, I'm saying, like, it's a factory farm, man. Didn't you say it was horrible when you drove by a factory farm at one point, Alex?
Yeah, it literally flew through my head a second ago while you were talking about us eating the McRib at McDonald's. It's been a minute since I had some. That's not even relevant. The fucking.
Yeah, it's been a while since I had any.
But still,
I came eating that McRib.
it was quite delicious and enjoyable, and I haven't felt very strong negative emotion about it since it happened. But still, I wonder, like, is there something bad about the way we're treating them? But fuck,
Yes.
dude, I
I would say undeniably, yeah.
kind of want to talk about Scott Pilgrim for a moment.
Okay.
You guys are.
Already
I'll talk to you guys fucking en masse about what do you guys think about the swords, the two swords he gets in the end. The sword of love and the sword of self-respect. What do you guys think about those swords?
There's a song called Scott Pilgrim Ruined a Generation of Women, and you should look at it. It's pretty fucking hilarious.
Now you say it, Tangent Jokes.
Come on, you know Scott Pilgrim tropes. To actually respond to your question though, Alex, what was it?
What did you guys think about the two swords?
Goddamn.
Scott Pilgrim, the sword of love and the sword of self-respect.
We hit this one.
The last one you got where he actually like beat everything with self-respect, correct? So I would agree with that because you need self-respect for healthy love, and unhealthy love is inherently bad.
What is self-respect, though?
You gotta look in the mirror and be like, that man fucks. There you go.
That's it.
That's it.
And here we've cracked the key, ladies and gentlemen. Self-respect. I don't know what it is, man, but I've been curious. It's a comment. Oh, did I tell you guys about the CIA story? So there's this military base hiding with the CIA, and intense training goes on with some high specialized shit. Specific names of which I fucking forget, but that's not goddamn relevant. And they have this chalkboard and a ritual where the guys get super fucking drunk and go out drinking all night, and when they come back, they write something on this chalk wall, and they write two things that are like the most important two things to them in their life. on this wall, and and you never erase what's written on the wall. And essentially everything is lined out except for all these lines that lead towards self-respect, just written in a circle. And then around the wall surrounding is like family, love, passion, joy, all these things. But for whatever reason, it all centers back to self-respect.
Is self-respect the most important thing, Alex?
I don't know.
It's not all the time, I think. Sometimes love is more important.
Oh wait, Seth, can you grab the mic? If you're talking.
Chubbs might want to talk.
I don't think so. Chubbs is doing jobs.
Chubbs is lucky for being able to do Chubbs.
I don't know what that means, what?
But me neither.
Fucks.
You gotta do a separate self-respect for yourself and a self-respect for your right hand. To respond to your story, Alex, you know, it's pretty cool.
Self-respect is really important. Sometimes you respect things outside yourself more than yourself. And then that's what you sacrifice yourself for.
Thanks for keeping us to my lead now.
Whee!
I'm tired.
I feel you.
Let's just keep going. 24-hour podcast. 50th podcast.
50th podcast, 50th hour.
50 hours long, Alex. Let's do it. Non-stop.
100 hours.
No, 50.
Fucking first person.
50th, man.
50th?
It's 50th podcast. Got
50 hours for, it seems appropriate set. Through sleep and waking up.
50 bodies for the 50th episode.
Just gotta get people to rotate.
You don't want me to repeat.
Why do you think I put it? No, what?
Why do you think I put it in your near your mouth, Dal? Nope. Alright. So how do you feel about the establishment Charles E. Cheese?
Chuck E. Cheese?
Yeah.
You mean Diary of a Wimpy
Is it
Kid?
dead now? Is
Cheese.
Chuck E. Cheese is it out of business or just still exists?
Chuck E. Cheese still exists.
I remember Chuck E. Cheese used to be like, you know, in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory when you go to the candy room? That's what it used to feel like as a kid going to Chuck E. Cheese. But I haven't been there in years.
That's true.
I remember it used to be fun, but they had to take out the ball pit. There used to be a ball pit when I was a little kid, which are fucking hives of disease. Even back when I was a kid, there were hives of disease. So now with COVID and shit, they would help, like, you'd never have a fucking ball pit anymore. I don't think ball pits are a thing nowadays, like period.
Yeah, I think they're a relic of the past, if you will.
Dude, they were so cool though. Especially when you're small. It's like easy to like be up to your head and like fucking colored balls. It's just strange.
Is that we might going closer to the mic? Or would you please?
Yeah, ball pits are disgusting. They're definitely really fun. That's why I like trampoline parks got that foam pit.
Guys, remember going to the fucking trampoline park lately? It was so much more tiring than it was as a kid. It's interesting to know how much more I could just be like jumping around for hours and hours and just like, yeah, cardio, and just, dude, that would be fun to get back, dude.
But I couldn't do that shit. It's just that fucking I'm just way more powerful now.
I was about to say,
Just way
like,
bigger
you're
now.
just way, like, as a kid I was like 70 pounds.
Yeah, so it's like you have less sweat and less everything.
Your
Everything's
body's just
less.
working less to operate.
Yeah.
But do you guys, I don't know how this works. Do you guys think the strength you have at that point is relatively the same? I'm not exactly sure to put that into words, but
Pound for pound.
maybe
Probably.
3,000 pound for pound.
Like, obviously, a 70-pound person isn't gonna be as strong as like a 200-pound person, just in general.
But like, what about like 150 pound person compared to 160, 170, 180, 190, 200? Like, I wonder how, if it switches how much you're able to move your body weight around in certain movements for X amount of reps, and maybe at certain body weight and points in your life you can, like for that example, jump around all day, do a bunch of reps jumping with that like plyometric springy movement.
Well, my counter to that would be, it sounds like you're basing it on a cardio perspective and not necessarily a strength perspective. So I guess it would depend on how what you're measuring. Because if it's like oh, like I'm 120 pounds, it's like, okay, you're gonna require way less energy to just like do 50 jumping jacks or something like that than someone who's like 200 pounds. But if it's like oh, I'm 200 pounds, like, okay, you're probably gonna require less energy to do this like 200 pound squat than this fucking person who's 120 pounds, you know. So it's like it depends how you're gonna be measuring it and like what you're measuring it for, whether it be cardio or strength or calisthenics or shit like that.
That's a good point, Dal.
Yeah, but if it's just like jumping on a trampoline cardio, I probably have more cardio now than I was fucking when I was little. I'd imagine.
Your cardio is probably better.
Maybe it's not cardio exact. Maybe the cardio isn't taxed as much when you're younger. For whatever reason, your pound for pound strength.
I don't think it is, yeah. Because it tends to be like in the UFC, it was like whoever, and in boxing and everything, it's just like whoever's lighter weight fighters just have better cardio than the heavyweights. It's just how it works. Because when you're lighter, you just get injured less. You just have lighter. You have more cardio.
I think
it's a physics thing. It's like you have a smaller body, so you don't have as much leverage when you get. It's like the bigger they are, the harder they fall. That's a real thing. Because like when you fall, you're just like a bigger limb. So it's like gravity has like more leverage to put on you and force when you get like, I don't know, it's weird. It's like a physics thing. When you're smaller, you're tougher. It's like a stick. It's like it's easier to break apart when it's big, but when it's small, it gets harder to break. I don't know.
Kids' bones are actually like apparently like really pliable as well. Like certain, like if you have healthy bones, of course. But that was what I was saying. Was just like when you're lighter, your fucking heart is just working less. It just has to push blood through less things.
Yeah.
Like it's like if you're obese and you're like 500 pounds,
you get heart attacks.
Like
more or
it
less.
doesn't. You might have good cardio. Well, you obviously wouldn't at that.
But you
size,
could.
But just in general, like in theory, like you could have good cardio, but it's just the simple fact that your heart's working so hard all the time. It doesn't matter if you have good cardio.
Or like think about like a hummingbird and like a fucking whale, or like not even a hummingbird and a whale. Maybe that's not an example. But think about like a whale. Like I think its heart beats like super slowly, and it's like I don't know. Yeah.
How many beats per minute, if you remember a ballpark? You guys want to hear a funny
passage?
passage?
It's just like the bigger you are, the less beats you get more per minute, though. I don't know. Generally speaking, you get more fragile when you get big, though.
More fragile when you get big. Bigger than
Yeah, big people have more back problems and hip problems
big.
and shit, and knee problems. At least past a certain point. But then, you're just more powerful if you're big. So then it's kind of like twice as fast, and twice as high. Kind of thing.
America's too damn fat. I think that's the problem we're having as a country.
America, do you think we're too fat because of lack of food, or because of lack of education, or because think about this, a lack of food because some people live in these things called like food deserts, where like they can't get anything but like food from like Wawa and shit like that, so then they end up like eating very like shitty food. So do you think it's like
I've never heard of that.
Oh, well, that's like a whole thing. But some people have like these things where it's like they don't have any like actual like fresh food around them.
Yeah, like your only especially like truckers and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like just like
Yeah, truckers,
your
yeah.
only choice is just like carry out food or some shit. Unless you're like really good at like getting the shit you need.
Yeah, just like stocking up.
Yeah.
Stock up.
Yeah.
And freeze. It's sometimes hard on. Well, if you're a trucker, I guess you could just like freeze things and be really tactical. You just pack the freezer with you. And a little freezer with you, I guess. It'd be hard, but maybe it wouldn't be that hard.
Yeah.
We should try another podcast, but just earlier.
Yeah, I did do a lot today.
I came here tired, if I'm being honest.
No, we hug it now. Okay, guys.
Watch out you put that on the screen.
Oh, you know, I should walk my game. That would just be like automatic thing to do. One of these days. What was like one of the times you hurt yourself as a kid? It was really fun. Remember that time that like we were like fucking with the bungee cord, and like it was like me and Christian, and he was like riding. And he was like riding. I was riding on my bike and like carrying him by like a skateboard. By a bungee cord, and he was just like holding the bungee cord, and I hit the brakes on my bike, and he went forward for a while, and let the bungee cord just go so far, like a bow and arrow, and he let it go, and it slammed my leg, and it felt like I got shot. I literally just fucking, you know, the ground with the biggest well on my leg. It's just like I like now need my bike to get home because like if I had to walk home, I'd just be like crawling or something.
Guys, honestly, fuck the microphones. We're just gonna go off the camera audio, so you don't even have to worry about talking to the microphone. But yes.
That's why Chubbs has been quiet this whole time. No, I'm just kidding.
You remember that, man? No, but I remember you telling me about it multiple times.
I think you were there, man. I think
Dude,
I
remember
told
the
you.
fucking bow and arrow?
That didn't hurt that bad. That was a crazy way to
I
get
kinda got
hurt. But that wasn't like one of the worst times I got hurt though.
Oh man, that wasn't too bad.
That wasn't like one of the worst. One of the
The ice
worst
fucking
pains.
lake was probably worse than
The
that.
ice. We kept breaking through the fucking water. Like we're just getting really soaked in like 20-some degree weather.
I just realized I still have the video of me going onto it on my Instagram, but I have all the videos of us going onto it on my old phone. I can
Dude, I remember I didn't even go on it on
It's
purpose. I
sad.
didn't go on it again after because I was so fucking cold. Because it was seriously an accident for me. Because it was just like, by the time you guys started breaking, I was like, oh shit, it actually will break on you. And then I just started slowly seeing it break beneath me, and I was just like, shit. Get to the edge, but then the edges were like more broken apart.
They were like thinner
Yeah.
and softer and muddier and yeah, I remember that day was so funny because me and Chubbs were just pelting you guys with snowballs from lacrosse sticks. That's how we ended up to the frozen lake was because you guys just chased us there essentially. Me and Chubbs was like, let's just go down here, and we like ran and we were like, oh dude, the ice is so fucking fragile. And we realized that, so we like crossed like super carefully.
Did you guys realize it when you were like in the middle?
We like used it as a trap for you guys pretty much. We were like, oh shit, this lake is fucking fragile. And you guys like ran on the lake and you guys were just like, oh shit, this lake is fucking fragile.
Dude, you remember
And that was
fucking
like,
dropping down? Like, we all started to crawl.
we just got lucky that it wasn't deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we just got lucky that one of us didn't like actually like fall into like 8 feet of water and just drown to death.
Well, I don't know about luck. Like, it was a pretty shallow thing. When you
Yeah, it's
went
true.
right through.
It was never full of that much water ever. And you can
Still.
But
our callous
Dude,
mentality of insane.
oh, dude, may I hit this again?
If there's weed in it, you can smoke it.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Dude, there, it was cool to see our bodies steaming.
Grinder.
That's a cool thing to see.
Yeah,
It was cool almost getting frostbite on my feet.
That's not cool. I hate fucking having my fingers and hands
Dude,
cold.
yeah, remember when we all went and like put our feet in your bathtub and everything hurt so bad as soon as it started warming up? We were all just like, like if you turned it on cold, if you turned the water on as cold as it went, it would be hot on your feet and it would hurt. That's how frostbit our feet were. I remember all of us just sitting there just like, I was just like, literally just that. Everyone was just fucking just like in so much pain.
Dude, that was a fun time. I enjoyed being like in the bath, like we just having all our feet in the bath at the same time. Just like, we're so fucking cold.
Well, then we gotta go like on a
Heat.
fucking snow ski tour or something like that together. We gotta go like ski.
We should do like a snowmobile tour.
Yeah, or some like I don't know, snowy environment thing. Snowmobile tour.
We should do like a polar plunge or something at the beach.
We should do that too.
That sounds fun as fuck. Just go into the freezing cold. Get the charge. Dude, I went to the some lake when it was ice, like, and I just took fucking the clothes off and like broke the ice a little bit and started swimming through it. And then I got out of it and you just naturally felt the energy to, it wasn't like, you know, a workout you do if you're kind of cold and you go to the gym and it's like, pushing a failure is this. There's a lot of effort to push through to get to this point.
Yeah.
But with that much cold, it just became, there was an effort put behind getting to that level of intensity. It didn't feel like, I gotta push through all this pain and discomfort. It was just like, oh no, I want to be doing, I started to do some breathing exercises that are designed to warm you up. And it didn't feel like I was pushing through anything. It was just like, like I felt like I could do that for minutes and minutes, and that the cold itself is what gave me the charge to push that intensely into the repage.
Probably just because you're warming yourself up. I don't even think
I did. I got really warm.
I feel like it's simply just, it's easily explained as just a survival state. Your body goes into survival state. Your body doesn't need to convince itself to fucking survive. You don't have to ration why you want to not fucking die of hypothermia in water. Your body's like, okay, let's do what we can. It's not like, oh, we gotta go fucking work out and it's cold. I'm not gonna die if I don't work out right now. That's my theory anyway. It's just like, typically when your body is just like put in like a crazy shock scenario, you don't have to convince yourself to perform.
Crazy shock scenario.
Some people fucking have that fawn thing though, where they do have to
Yeah.
freeze, but not. Yeah, some people do crazy shit they didn't think they could do, where it's like, oh, I was just fucking running 20 miles an hour. I didn't think I could run that fast. It's like cool, yeah.
Yeah. The power of the heat is a moment. Maybe you can see adrenaline. The moment.
Charles, what's your favorite song?
Yeah.
Currently, have you found a new song recently that you like?
Star Spangled Banner.
Or like having a band, is there like a certain band you got introduced to recently or something like that?
Tickle his knees.
Yeah, that's fair. Is there any music you'd recommend?
No.
Is there any music you like?
Do you listen to things?
Have you ever heard a song?
Some.
Oh wait, no, I forgot. I found your playlist that said calm and relaxation. It was just hours of screaming. Forgot about that.
Lo-fi beats and screaming.
It's like boom, ch, boom, boom, ch. Oh God, somebody help me! Boom, ch, boom, ch. Someone got my water, he's fucking bleeding. Boom, ch.
Chubbs, what do you think Dallas' spirit animal is?
Badger.
Honey badger?
Just badger.
It's a regular badger. I only know a honey badger.
Yeah, I only knew honey badgers.
That's pretty cool, Dal.
Right.
Dal, what sort of spirit animal do you think Seth has?
Say like a dolphin.
I like that.
I like that, yeah. It's because my reasoning behind it would be like, because they're like super playful and just curious of everything, pretty much.
And if necessary, headbutts as much as possible.
Dolphins are fast.
Surprise yeah, they're just like, they're playful, they're curious, they're friendly, but surprisingly dangerous. Now, Alex.
Yes, Alice?
This Chubbs is a spirit animal.
What animal is Sly Cooper?
Raccoon.
Is he a raccoon?
What the fuck, Alex?
But the Sly Cooper version?
You're a fucking trash bandit.
Raccoon in the teeth.
Raccoon and a thief.
Oh my god!
He said, you're not just a raccoon. You're a raccoon that steals things. Holy shit, Alex!
Damn, Alex.
This is why I don't say things. I get to them all.
What?
Damn.
See, if you talked on his podcast, he would have had a more generous spirit animal for you.
What's Sly Cooper?
He said,
Your
what?
Sly Cooper
He said, what is Sly Cooper? Oh, raccoon? No, but the one that steals things.
And it's cool, like James Bond.
That's
Who's
a
James
personal
Bond with raccoons. Well, yeah, but I was asked.
What the hell was Alex?
No, I already gave one. Seth, what's Alex?
Alex.
That's 2 in mine for Alex.
Charles gonna be like, what's one of those dumbass the ones with, you know, like small dicks and just fucking tiny
A
brains.
sloth in the cold. Just licks its dick because he's more
those smelly dumbass small dicked monkeys that fucking die from grabbing their own arms and you're specifically that one. But specifically ones that single, the one that doesn't get meated after the dung
Dung beetle was mosquito.
Alex apparently brought a knife to a gunfight.
One I thought was funny for Alex, I thought maybe he's a rhino.
I like
That's a good one. Because they. Because they're coming extinct because they don't know how to fuck.
Is that why?
Yeah.
They don't know how to fuck.
They have to like purposely help rhinos mate because the rhinos usually
In
just
captivity? Is that
no
why?
in general. Just like
Why not?
rhinos are just very bad at mating.
Is that true with elephants
Well, like,
too, or just
poaching.
rhinos?
Well, a lot of poaching causes them to like die, but like their birth rates are very low. Elephants, no, elephants fuck, but they get poached a lot.
I appreciate your help in continuing continuing the species, Dallas.
Thank you.
How many have you helped?
Oh, me personally, I don't know if I'd call it help, but like at least 13.
Now I don't know if I'd call it help.
Now I own to toot my own horn, I'd call it straight saving. I had to urge like spit water to try to catch it, but I didn't. It's fun technology.
It was going to hit in the next 3 days. What would you do with your time, the remainder of your time?
That's a good question.
Alright, total guess
Does
right now.
everyone
I'll
in
just
the
ask
world
myself
know?
and see what pops in my head.
Or is
Okay.
like, this is information I know.
That's an interesting.
For
That's
some
an interesting
reason-
spin on the question.
For some reason, you are the only one, like, a very small group of people know, and a couple, like, rich people, and let's just say, like, you know, and maybe, like, it's like not very many people know, maybe, like, 150 other people know or something.
Okay, that's not a lot, bro. They planning to tell everyone else.
No.
I'm getting a bunch of credit cards, maxing them out, and living a fucking dream before I die.
Yeah, that's true.
Wait, if you're the only one that knows?
And there's only
Essentially, a small.
there's a handful of people in the world that know, but
It's just
no
us. It's just the four of us. We just find out right now somehow. In a way it's silly convincing and it seems so real.
A fucking entity like pops up and it's
Dude,
like
how can we
clearly.
make that happen? Let's make that happen somehow.
Make what?
Actually, make your
I like to live more than just 4 days.
No, make the entity pop up.
Oh, and like animated into the podcaster's name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like an Into the Spider-Verse-esque 3D model of just that fucking entity.
I thought you were saying
Alex,
like
she's
we
gotta
should
go
make
later
that
and
happen or
just
like
stick
the end of
figures.
the world.
Yeah, dude, a fucking golden blue, like, stick figure.
Like, you just gotta listen really closely to the audio back and then actually draw out what we're talking about. And then, like, just put those over, like, this camera.
That would be cool.
But anyway,
I like those.
3 days. What would you do once you have the credit cards? Let's say you have the credit cards. Alright, now what do you spend your time doing? So let's just say you have like, you know, $1,000 to spend on whatever you want. What would you do with your time then?
I'd probably get a flight to somewhere, first of all.
It's like first, might as well just get like best first class ticket possible.
Yeah. Like, I won't say I'm gonna buy people things, because obviously
It's
I already
crazy
know
much
we're gonna
fun.
die in 3 fucking days.
You can get them things that are short term, gonna make them happy.
But
They won't use it to the
they won't be
fullest
able,
'cause
they won't be able to
understand.
enjoy it. Like,
What
it
if
might
it's
make me
chocolate or
more.
something?
What?
Yeah.
Just like an animal thing. Like
Honestly, I would max out all those credit cards and get a bunch of shit that make me like almost like godlike and like power, and just like go on a rampage.
Jesus.
That's what you've been waiting to say this whole fucking podcast!
You say one, you contribute to one conversation. It's if I knew the world was
honestly,
gonna end, I would just fucking
This whole
end it
podcast,
myself.
I've been agreeing with Seth. And like honestly, like Seth is literally on this earth to be like getting ready himself to literally fist fight to be the leader of this country. That's what his conversation came down to. Anyone he had a problem with should be allowed to
Death
fight.
match.
Anyone
Any
anyone in
president
power
should
should be
defend
literally
themselves.
up a strong fist. Like, everything is led to like Seth being like, this is a video game, I'm gonna be the #1 character in this country.
Seth's whole wrap up of most of his arguments apparently is just at the end of the day, the laws just need to justify violence.
Nah, I
I
just
know.
don't like it when it takes away people's freedom to do stupid shit. I
Yeah.
think you should be allowed to do stupid shit.
So again, like, if I got 3 days left to live and I know it's over in 3 days,
Yeah.
why not do what the fuck I want with it? See how far I can get before someone else is like, fuck, I'm gonna try and stop it.
Well, the
with everything
government
I
would
got.
still try to stop
Why
it.
is
if you would-
why is that illegal to do?
What else is there to do?
There's so many things to
A
do.
lot of it. 3 days is a long time. What if you just did that in the last
3
12
Yeah, okay, yeah, sure, like.
Dude, I thought of just going to Everest, like, I'm just climbing Everest.
That'd be cool.
Fuck it.
You could do it with an RPG or something, try to make it an avalanche from the top. That'd be cool.
I don't know
and tried
about all that.
Snowboarding the avalanche.
snowboarding the avalanche off Mount Everest, that'd be
You
dope.
know, somehow you know, like 100%. There's
Or
no
wingsuiting
question.
on?
In 3 days, the world is gonna fucking end. Like, what am I fucking doing? Skydive. I feel like I definitely want to skydive, but like I'm grabbing the fucking parachute. And I'm just jumping out of the plane.
Maybe like I'll
Before I
find
can
like
get trapped,
Elon
someone's like, I'm
Musk.
figuring it out midair. I'm
After you,
dying.
Like, blew it up, right?
Hmm?
After you like blew up the airplane, right?
No.
After you hijacked the liner and like,
We should go out. We should hang out more time.
he
Yeah, just like, hey, it's the skydiving crew, and then just immediately just knock everybody out of the plane, and then just fucking take over the plane, just send it into a spiral, and then jump out.
I disagree with that plan.
Alright, so you don't want to go skydiving?
Maybe hijack one of Elon Musk's rocket and take it off.
That'd be pretty
That'd be
Go
awesome.
into space.
So
That would be
right
pretty cool.
before,
See
like,
space from
The
space.
asteroid hits, you're in space and you literally just like
You could also rent out an amusement park for the day and just like do whatever you wanted in.
maybe get to IIS like or ISS and then just fucking run that like a little mini city, put some
You
potatoes.
could rent out an amusement park,
You ever
bring
seen The Martian?
paintball guns, and then just pay for
Like,
it.
Mark Wahlberg.
Whatever damage you do.
See the actor? Mark Wahlberg
For what?
and The Martian.
Never seen it.
No idea. Wait, no. I think that's
He gets trapped
Who's
on
the guy
Mars.
who played
It's not Mark Wahlberg, it's someone else, right?
the last Ultimatum?
He had
What
grow
the
stuff
fuck?
and stuff.
Yeah, he grows potatoes and stuff.
Jason
He grows all
Bourne?
potatoes and
Who
shit.
played
That's not
Jason
Mark
Bourne?
Wahlberg, it's someone else. Huh? Jason, what?
Jason Bourne.
No.
That is not machete.
I know you're
my
talking
God.
about. Yeah, that was the same guy. I forget his name.
Yeah.
Matt Damon.
Yes.
That's who played Martian.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Do it at the ISS, like bring a bunch of potatoes and shit up there. Start a mini farm on the ISS, like become
Yeah, you might be able to just leave the planet in time. It might be
maybe
possible
throw
to
off
spend the money.
orbit, get drifting through space, and just like see like the world or like, see space through like the ISS.
Maybe get an extra couple days in space and just in orbit.
I think
Or just run out
you
of
will get a
resources.
very
Probably-
long time in the
Probably
ISS.
more than a couple days, honestly.
You will get a very long time in the ISS if you keep it up with maintenance and everything. The ISS is meant to.
But there's always that chance that really bad things happen.
Maybe just let yourself
Space
drift
junk,
out
you
into
know.
space until your spacesuit has a hole or something. Or you're gonna have oxygen. And then you just get to know what it's like to expand and blow up in the middle of space.
But
That's how you go out.
But that's when you take the ISS as far as you can go. The ISS starts breaking down, then you start drifting out.
Aliens fucking pick you up in a tractor beam.
Like you're just having that
yeah,
perfect
they
sun
save
moment
you.
where like he's literally just staring at the sun, like drifting towards like, yup, this is it. The cyborg over there wins.
That would suck, just floating around in orbit, just watching the planet. Just playing Xbox. Just like,
You guys hear about the two black holes that are supposed to collide at some point?
Which two black holes?
I forget what they're called, but apparently like in a little while, like some distant, like not distant future, some time in the future, like two black holes, not like too close to us, are like supposed to collide, and like it's supposed to send like ripples throughout space, whatever not. So yeah, apparently like we're able to view that obviously since we're partially able to view like black holes now. So yeah, so that's what we cause some point. Who knows when they'll fully blow each other and we'll find out.
Do they have a guesstimate? Is it like thousands or millions or billions of years or something?
You know, it should be this lifetime.
Should be in this life. Wait, are these black holes that are close to us? Like that impact on life?
No.
Like far away or something?
Yeah. But who knows what the ripples will do? Maybe we'll just get like a lost in like magnetic field or something.
yo, what happens when two black holes collide and they just become one big black hole?
Kind of, sort of.
That'd be cool.
Or it's kind of like when two neutron stars collide, because then they just create a supernova when they explode out of each other. So maybe
Black
we'll just
holes
like
are
release all, not infinite, but
Because some
extreme.
black holes are
extreme.
bigger than, yeah, because some black holes are bigger than other black holes.
Again, it's just when a super like large mass of like matter just like is so
It's-
compact that like
Like can't see.
anything close enough it like gets pulled in. That's why like it's perceived as this just giant black hole because the light gets pulled around it. Yeah, so that's just like I guess like when two neutron stars like all that mass is simply collected, which is eventually just disperse outwards. Like that's probably gonna do something crazy.
It's eventually blow up stars, right? I think I've seen the stars when they glow.
Oops, there's just an individual.
Just
No, it's crashing.
sleep right here on the ground. Just debate it. Take your footy off first.
I love that underground for it. Just hear you guys talk.
Nah.
I was legit. I'm
Or you won't mind going else.
You can put that on the ground.
Okay, Alex. I'm gonna go over here where cars aren't the.
Cars are.
I'm gonna sense Christian's energy on the floor.
Plus Christian flat. I'm talking.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen him. Did you go to a show?
I didn't know.
I went to the one on Friday.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
Yeah. There was one Friday and Saturday, but yeah, I went to the one on Friday. It was fun.
Mm-hmm.
It was at a house in a suburb like 40 minutes from here.
You said it was in Millville?
Don't remember exactly. But it was cool. Yeah. Dad.
What kind of music does their band play? I forget. A flute. Oh, is it like punk rock? 'Cause like
I'd say like Fallout Boy, but more hardcore, like between Fallout Boy and Pierce the Veil, and probably some others, maybe more intense like metal band. Like they bounce around a good bit between that like Arctic Monkeys vibe, Fallout Boy vibe, and that more hardcore vibe.
that sounds sick.
We can do whatever you guys want.
No. 50 hours.
Man,
Water. Do you know some of my water tropes?
Oh, damn! Can I have some water?
Yeah.
Would you want handing that to Dallas? Or handing if it said to hand to Dallas?
No, I don't need my water. I was offering my water to whoever was calling for or something. Someone said they needed water, so I was like, oh, you can have water.
No. Definitely asked for your water, and then Alex asked for water, and then he said okay.
Nope.
We have camera evidence, Dallas. I don't remember
We
who
do
was
have
right.
camera evidence.
We're gonna check it.
Oh, we need a slow-mo
I literally
recording
heard someone
back
just
of
go,
our-
Slow.
I literally heard someone say, I need
we need a
water.
slow-mo recording back of me and Dallas's rock, paper, scissors shoot game. And you see who won more.
Yeah, at the beginning of the podcast, you guys riding really serious.
Yeah, dude, I love the bells in the background. That's cool.
You started going like really fast too. It was so cool. There's like chop, 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 chop.
Pretty sure Dallas won most of them.
Centaur.
Literally don't know.
Got another big set. Do you have 2 degree sets?
Alright, what do you guys want to do from here?
I have no idea who's. I feel like we're pretty even so far. You might be winning star. I'm not sure.
So Alex, how did you enjoy your 50th podcast?
To simply let loose the thoughts that come to mind.
Were politics really the thoughts that came to mind though?
It was a bit of a clusterfuck. I may not want to get as high or as tipsy for future podcasts.
Yeah, I've been staring at you at that bottle. I'm like, I definitely know no one else is working on that.
Yes, it has been. I'm decently feeling it right now. But also to focus more on gaining joy from the conversation itself. And to let that be more of a spark that seems like an important takeaway for the future. To find joy from a source that will allow me to be more alert, more focused, less like wavy and uncontrollable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see like the use of like alcohol, like that stuff, like as like kind of like an icebreaker, you know, like alleviate like kind of like tensities in the room so like people can open up more. Yeah. I don't feel like this group's much of drinkers.
I feel it.
Yeah. It was there, like, yeah, we were enjoying our drinks, whatever not. But, can't say it's, like, anything that gets us actually talking.
An idea pops in my head to get us talking off the conversation itself. Off of just chatting. Have that be such an enjoyable high that those other things kind of fall to the wayside. And maybe put more focus onto shui, because that does seem to be more what we lean towards compared to alcohol, stimulants, or marijuana. Stimulants we might call. Why were you so quiet?
Honestly, day to day, I don't say much in conversations with just like the whole group. I usually tend to listen. It's just now you guys are more focused on me not talking. Again, I've just explained that, like, I like talking one-on-one. I'm actually, like, able to actually, like, interact. It's like, yeah. But when it comes to groups, I tend to just listen more. And when I get told to talk, I get a little bit anxiety. So, yeah. So I listen. So, let's see. Biden. Yeah, he was kind of bad shit. He's going, like, down the hill. Like, yeah, he is, like I said earlier, like, an unintentional Trump where he's just making, like, kind of, like, invalid points and arguments that aren't fully thought out and also using incorrect information. Does he mean to do it? Probably not, but he is letting it slip. You guys said, like, or Dow said, like, maybe it's his body that, like, isn't keeping up fast enough for his mind, or I think you may have said that. Like, his body isn't keeping up with his mind, like, he's trying to, like, put those thoughts out there. Like, he has those thoughts, he wants to put them out there, but his body doesn't keep up. It seems more so his mind isn't keeping up with his body, because obviously his body is producing words and it's, like, just producing sentences that don't even make sense, because, like, most people that do that, they're talking too fast for their mind to keep up, so they're not completing their sentence, or they're skipping and jumping everywhere. So instead of, like, I want to see it as his body keeping up, but rather his mind still. And I feel like at that age, like medically, right now, we can keep someone's physical body in more tact than their mind. Because, like, if you look at, like, Parkinson's and, like, Alzheimer's and all that stuff, some of them have treatments and everything, none of them have cures for the most part, and most treatments are just to alleviate the symptoms as long as and as fast as they can. So, feel like it's more his mind rather than his body going. So like that kind of like goes against like what Seth was saying. It was like, oh, you need to be physically strong and everything. Yes, like being physically healthy and all that stuff does help the mind last longer. But again, like you could have someone that's super old and like literally stuck to a wheelchair, but they can literally have one of the greatest minds. Like Stephen Hawking had one of the greatest minds up to the very day he died. Like in my opinion, like he like was just beyond thinking. He was like writing like all these different like theories and everything, like trying to push on like, yeah. Again, his body just couldn't keep up with his mind. And in that sense, rather like, I feel like his mind's not keeping up with his body. Like, yeah, his body's kind of failing too. I had no idea what Dallas was talking about when he mentioned the Hillary Clinton making like that Pokemon comment. Like, I don't know what that was about.
Ditto.
Yeah, so maybe we'll have him talk about that another time.
And if you just don't want to talk about that sort of conversation,
yeah, let's see. You and Seth, can you guys explain January 6th to me more? Like, I can't say I correlate the date to anything specific, it's just in my mind, so like.
alright. Maybe take this with a grain of salt. I really don't know exactly how to categorize the level of importance of what I'm about to say for you. I may be completely off. I may.
Like, again, I might already know the event, just not the date it's correlated with. So, yeah.
From my understanding, a lot of people who did not think the election was legit
Oh yeah, the Trump supporters like rioting Capitol. Okay, that's what it was.
ended up storming things as significant as Capitol Hill in a building that, if I remember correctly, maybe the Declaration of Independence
That's Philly.
was stored in.
That's it. I'm pretty sure Declaration of Independence is in Philly.
Could be wrong with the last part. But the point being that the areas stormed were of a level of importance that hit different from other places that have had riots going on.
Yeah, they would be considered national treasures, like areas like National Mall, like Congress, White House. Yeah. Didn't they like get onto like the White House's like lawn and they had like firearms or something?
I don't know.
I don't know. Dallas was saying people died that day. Like was.
I don't know, but
If you watch it back, you'll see that. Like he did mention like, oh, people died on like during that. Like,
Oh no, I'm
'cause when
sorry. I'm
Seth-
saying I don't know if people actually did die.
Yeah, that's what I'm like wondering. Like
Yeah.
Dallas put that information in there, so I was just wondering about that. Also, another thing, the story we started off with about in Maine. Austin actually is the one who told him about my academic history. I sat there silently, not sure like what to talk about. Like, I barely knew what hobby to say. And Austin was just like, "Oh, but this kid, he's really smart." Austin's the one who lit up about that stuff. And then, yeah, next thing I know, I get the call from Lindsay like, "Hey, I remember you being good at math." Yeah, and that's where that went. Yeah, because at that time, Seth was saying how, like, the riot was awesome or cool because, like, he was just like, yeah, being with Seth. But, like, then Dallas like followed was like at one point saying like, but like people like literally died in that. So I was just like wondering like, did people actually die or were they just like harmed, or was it more against like the corporations? Because I feel like when I like heard about like other riots going on because of Trump, it was mostly targeted against like certain like stores and all that kind of stuff, like just being broken into and like things that are around. I don't really remember anyone actually getting harmed. What else? Then Seth, obviously you guys had the whole conversation about the death duels. Yeah, so the death duels. When it comes to those, it's like I kind of see where Seth is getting. Is like if people have an altercation, they should have some way to relieve that stress. I know like in a lot of like kind of like stress relief groups or something like that, like honestly like it sometimes gets down to like, okay, slap the like you like obviously go to a person like, oh, I'm bringing my dad with me or something because like we like are like going through shit whatever, not and like we're trying to fix that by going to this retreat thing, right? in the retreat, they're like, slap him, slap him, and now tell each other why you're mad, and then hug it out or some shit, you know, like, some weird shit, like, it's not obviously like that exactly, like, there's more to it, whatever, not, but it's just like, they find a way to, like, relieve certain stressors in a, like, safer condition, and, like, I think that's kind of what Seth was getting at, like, when people were, like, little kids and, like, you're literally like, you guys are both, like, in wrestling class, like, get on the mat, wrestle it out, like, at the end of the day, you guys are teammates, like, get the fuck up, like, you got it out of your system, you got it out of your system, like, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but, like, Seth was just saying, like, legalize a way for them to, like, relieve the altercation. Obviously, you don't want to go to a death match where they're running around the desert with AR-15s for 10 minutes, especially with 4-year-olds. But I can see where he's coming at, like, that was obviously, like, a more old school mindset, like, hey, you don't like this guy, you don't like that guy, fight it out, fisticuffs, you know, or, like, grab the fucking musket, like Dal was saying. But, yeah, I don't know, some people just want to go a more physical route rather than the, like, intellectual route of, like, speaking and, like, all that kind of stuff and actually, like, talking it out, but it's just another, like, means to an end, I guess, when it comes to that. Obviously I don't agree with fucking sending 4-year-olds out there with AR-15s to kill each other, like, and, like, honestly it should, like, one of the requirements I was thinking about was, why not, like, actually have some paperwork? Like, he was saying, like, oh, they have the consent in video, why not just make it an actual contract? It's basically like any other waiver for any other sport or event. Like, you accept, like, the idea of, like, or the knowledge, like, that you could possibly be injured, maybe even death may occur from, like, participating in this activity. We signed up for lacrosse, we signed up for fucking marching band even, like, we signed up for almost any sport or activity. Because they know, like, there's literally always a chance something crazy just might happen. So, and they will sign that, but, like, they also have to document, like, maybe, like, make sure the altercation's legitimate, like, oh, he looked at me funny, so I want to fucking have a fucking gunfight with him, whatever it is. Rather than, like, me and him have been, like, mad at each other for so long, like, over, like, thousands of dollars of financial, like, debt that, like, we caused in a corporation together, whatever or not, and, like, I believe he's just so wrong and it's, like, caused this damage in my life and, like, all this stuff. If it's going on for that long, then yeah, okay, maybe do something to figure out that altercation, because apparently nothing else in that time has worked. But, yeah, I can see that going somewhere. But, to death, I don't know how that's gonna run. And, like, Seth also mentioned, like, it would also try to, like, deter people from getting into altercations so in depth, because obviously most people don't want to risk their lives and put themselves in a literal chance where it's like, there's a, like, 70-60% chance, like, you're gonna die in this in this situation. Most people don't want to put themselves in that situation, so most people will just avoid getting into altercations that would force that situation. But then again, it's like, how do you even get both parties to agree? Like, they might just, like, call you a bunch of names, call you a bunch of shit, and then you literally hand them a contract, like, hey, sign this so we can fucking fight to the death. And if they just say no, like, then what, you're just gonna continue letting them assault you? No, eventually someone's gonna take action outside of that contract. Like, whether you sign that contract or not, if that person comes to you with a contract and you don't sign it, you can assume they might just take action outside that contract now, because they at least tried to do it legally and now you're not allowing that, so they might just take it in their own hands. Because again, they were willing to put that contract in your face and say one of us might die. Why not? Why would they not risk it and just go to jail? Make sure you die and they just go to jail. Because again, unless, like, it's, like, now another, like, consequence, like, if you kill someone outside of a mutual, like, duel, you get the death penalty. So it's like, what other laws will be changed due to that, to allow people, like, that freedom to exert their, like, frustrations upon each other.
You want the inside storm soon?
Do you? You hitting? Yeah, you hitting. I'm just getting started. Like, you can literally cut this stuff and put it into where we are, like, in the, like, actual, like, earlier one. That's why I'm just recapping on it all.
Let me run inside and grab some agua.
Dow's even leave water out here now. Yeah, go get yourself some water, I'll wait. You got anything to say? Or is it just like, I don't remember any of this? Like, get your editing skills so well that, like, you just, like, green screen me right where I should be in the like, conversations and cut it in. It would be great. Anxiety is a crazy thing. Runs very deep. You'll notice in all my hair fidgeting throughout. Also, I did try to grab the mic a couple times. It didn't work out too well. Don't know how well this camera's picking me up.
Seth would like you to come inside.
He wants me to? Why?
Yeah.
Did you want to come inside?
Yes.
Oh. I guess that concludes my podcast.
Centauro, give your final zoom out message to the crowd.
Life's a dog diggity shame sometimes. Where's the letter? What would you say to the camera right now at the end of this?
I don't know.
So what would you actually do with your last 3 days?
My last 3 days, eh? I don't know. If you ask me though, if I had to bet right now, gunpoint, what the fuck do I have to bet I would spend my last 3 days on?
But like in reality, you only have what you have. Like it's not like you can apply for credit cards. Like they get like obviously they take a little bit of time to get approved due to like credit score checks and all that kind of stuff. Then they also have to ship you out a car certain months or everything, right? You know, there's a lot of like stuff that goes into that. So like getting that accomplished in 3 days, yeah, you can get something in 3 days, but like it might be a little and it might just be a waste of time. So what would you do realistically with your 3 days with what you have at hand?
Maybe I would get quite high at some points, but also maybe go tell people the greatest wrongs I've done if they don't know and apologize. Oh, good, thank you. And go tell the people that I love the most that I love them. I don't know.
Do you feel like that certain people are still hurt by things that you may have said or done to the point where an apology would help them like heal, or like how long term do you think like the damage you did to them is? Like, do you believe it's actually to the point where it's like they might be like they're still like hurt, traumatized over it right now, and it's affecting their life? Rather, like, what if it's like they already moved on past it, and like you go to apologize for it, and like it just kind of like they don't want to hear it, or like they don't even think about it, like whatever not, like they just brush it off as a joke, and like you realize I've been like thinking about this thing for so long. Like, would that make you feel a certain type of way in the last 3 days? Like, you really want to waste it wondering if this is something you should have apologized for, rather than just letting it go yourself? Like, trying to find them in those 3 days. Like, do you think like it is better to forgive yourself for what you've done rather than seek it from them?
I don't know if I'm necessarily seeking forgiveness from them, but for whatever reason, that's just what runs through my head right now in response. What I want to do, there's some, maybe there are regrets that I want to apologize for and try to make amends with so I can go without them. I don't know, those are just the thoughts that come to mind. When it comes to what would I actually do if that were to happen,
It's a tough one. That's why I just was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go on a rampage because I have no idea what to do.
Alright, so let's say it's post-apocalypse. Well, hold on. Let's say it's fucking post-apocalypse right now.
Post-apocalypse?
It's
Like
post-apocalypse. It's zombie apocalypse,
Okay.
and we're
Zombie
like
apocalypse, no,
3.5 years in.
apocalypse.
Like fucking 3.5 years into the zombie apocalypse, and somehow we're all still alive. Like, what do you think you want to be doing with your life at that point? 3.5 years in.
3.5 years into the apocalypse. Half the world is dead.
Sure,
So-
yeah.
Wait, you said half the world?
I didn't out of it.
What did you say?
We can go with that, then we can roll with that. As far as zombie apocalypse, it sounds quite fucking apocalyptic. So yeah, half the world is dead in the form of zombies.
Yeah, I was gonna say if they're dead, they're zombies. Unless like you actually already finished killing them all, but we'll say they're half, you know. So if it's half, that's crazy to think of, but I feel like the other half, we'd probably lose another quarter. If we're already at half, we're probably gonna lose another quarter. Unless it's already been contained. Well, 3 years into it probably should be. We probably stopped it at half, I hope, after 3 years. We should be smart enough to get there, like fucking build some good walls and shit, you know? Just get a bunch of people, like, learn how to snipe and stab through skulls real quick while they're all lined up against the fence, you know? And, like, unless you're just obviously, like China's probably gonna go down because they're just so heavily populated, it's gonna be hard to contain that massive zombies. Unless they literally just burn them all. Japan, if they figure it out, they'll be able to stop it pretty fast because they're an island and they just stop travel between. I feel like the same thing's kind of for Australia, depending, like they just like have the means to like stop certain creatures, and if it affects animals, that's crazy. So, in 3.5 years, I would hope to be at some military compound, working some type of job that benefits the community, myself, and allows us to survive. I would obviously, I feel like in that time, it's gonna be like you need to go where people and your skills are needed, rather than like, hey, I want to be a doctor. No, we don't have time to teach you. People are doctors already, and they're already like close to being doctors, they're gonna become doctors. We don't have time to give you like 6 years of like medical school right now because we don't even know we have 6 years. So I probably definitely wouldn't be the one trying to find the cure. Because that's definitely way beyond just learning how to do that kind of stuff. That's actually like mastering like the understanding of certain things in that aspect. So, I don't know, I'd probably be an engineer in a military compound. Yeah.
Alright, Satar. That's why.
You didn't think I was going to go there, did you? Just thinking out completely logically what the best possibility is in that situation.
That is where I'll officially end it on my end. But you can continue to the podcast.
Your other thing you want to do before the meteor strikes in 3 days.
Before the what strikes?
The meteor strikes. Said you wanted to tell the people you loved them. Do you believe or not believe that all the people you love, that you love them?
I don't know.
And what's stopping you from making those calls anyways? Like, why not just call your Nana up tomorrow or something and be like, hey, just want to like call and say like I love you. Like, yeah, no. Drive it in like, I was just thinking about you and all that kind of stuff, you know? If you're concerned that people don't know they love you, that again, you're going to put your last 3 days towards that. Why not do it today? Why not do it tomorrow? Because we never know when those 3 days is literally just the next 3 seconds of the month. Something can happen, you know?
True. On that instance, or it was go inside.
Farewell, podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah, you gonna shut it off?